Alrighty. Uh, when last we left off, the Left Stars had just attended the third and final round of the Tournament of Tales, the annual competition for storytellers across Ventus to come and prove their mettle as both performers and heroes. Aesop had captured the audience's attention in the first round during the spoken word competition, and in the second round, all of you, the Left Stars, had been able to prove their strengths together, fighting off illusory sort of fire elementals that had rained down upon the theater. And in the final round of the Battle of the Verse, Aesop defeated the Goliath woman from Dusklight, Heartcrusher, winning the crowd and being awarded with prizes befitting a champion. And in the excitement, as the excitement of the rising melody died down, some congratulations were had, some shopping trips were planned, and conversation started to pick up between the Left Stars as you began to discuss what's next. Aurelia had met with Aesop to talk about what it means to be a champion, and Gris had stopped by your table to talk about what it means, what the benefits are of working with Avendir. And as Aesop had returned to the table and Gris wrapped up that conversation, he kind of stands from the table and starts stretching his wings and sort of looks down at all of you seated and says, well, I should probably go check in with the boss. Got a busy couple of weeks in store, so if you need anything, let me know, or feel free to reach out, but otherwise I suppose I'll be seeing you.
Stay safe.
He kind of gives like a soft salute with the two feather salute, and then starts walking towards the bar where you see Avendir is sort of still working through some of the closing logistics of getting the bar back to sort of its non-tournament state. The Rising Melody is dwindling down. There are still people here, but certainly not as many as there were during the event. Still kind of like morning-ish. But what would you all like to do?
There's like a banquet later in the evening or something like that. Is that true?
You've been told that there will be a party. You don't know when.
I assume they're gonna send out invitations because they haven't said anything specific about it yet, or at least not that I remember. I need a fat nap though. That was just a lot. It was a lot.
How are you feeling after? This is like a big. This is a big moment. When what's going on in your brain?
Exhilarated but exhausting, if that makes sense. Like, we went through so much to get here, and then go through the competition with a lot of ups and downs for me personally. I don't know about y'all, but there was just a lot going on inside me during this event, and now that it's done, it's like my body feels drained.
I'm sure with some carbs and pastries and a quick nap, you'll fully recover.
I agree. And now sounds nice.
If we swing by bread, I'll put it on me.
Bread.
You touch base with Avendir and figure out, I guess, what we're doing next, what the deal with this party is.
Also, don't a couple of us, it's me and someone else I forget.
Yeah, I could walk over to Avendir and ask him, does Avendir look, I'm assuming Avendir looks busy, but is it possible for me to catch his attention for like a quick
busy
question?
but approachable, yeah.
Okay. So I'll walk up to him and be like, hey, we're about to head out. When there was a banquet party event later today, what do you know the details on that, or are we gonna just get sent word later?
Not today. We actually. Well, I do need to talk to you about that. It's sort of. I suppose. Would you like it to be here? Would you like it to be somewhere else? We haven't.
I'm trying to move the map on a mouse pad, and I don't know how to do that successfully. For any mousepad users, is there a way to move the map with using a mousepad?
I mean, I'll move the map for you a little bit. I don't know if you're
Oh,
looking for
thank
anything
you.
in particular.
Yes. Yeah, you need to like it's like you click and drag like a long distance until you get to the border or the edge of the screen, and then it'll keep going. It's really unprecise, but it works.
Okay. But looking at the map and like remembering it as I like as we traveled through the city, I think it would be nice to have the banquet outside at the park, in the where the middle statue is, where the quintessence statue is in the middle. If there's space.
You're saying this to Avendir?
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm sure I could talk to the mayor and figure something out.
Say it's your idea, not mine. I don't think he particularly likes me still after round 2.
I wouldn't take that personal. He's given me a little bit of lip for my upcoming departure as well. But I'm happy to talk to him and get all that sorted out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be a great spot just to be outdoors, you know.
Are you planning on staying in town for a little while? We do have to coordinate that. It probably will be later in the week. I think that we're also expecting the visitor from the capital to come sometime later this week with the sort of quest, the traditional quest that they bring.
I look back at the rest of the group, trying to think of anything that we need to immediately do that's not in the city. And not thinking of anything as player and in character. I'll be like, yeah, sure, like we're gonna be in town anyway. I can't think of anything we need to do immediately, so we'll be here.
Very good. Let me get that process started and just check in now and then. I'll try to pass along the details. And if there's anybody you want to invite, I would feel free to drop off some letters and I can have them delivered, or otherwise it will predominantly be probably people who attended the event and who are also sticking around in town, as well as, well, I suppose it depends on what you want this open to the public.
I mean, it's a celebration banquet thing, isn't it? So might as well. The more the merrier.
Okay. Well, I'll work on that and I'll get back to you.
Okay, perfect.
And then just if either he sort of notes that the party is still sitting at the table and just sort of says, I don't. If either Flint or Drada has time, I would be happy to talk to them whenever they're free.
Are you? If they wanted to talk to you now, would you be free now?
Yeah, I can make time.
Okay, I'll see if either of them are available. Thanks. I'll be in contact with you soon, I'm assuming.
Very well.
And I'll head back. I'll be like, so the event isn't until probably end of week, and I did say that we are going to be here for that. I don't know if that falls into conflict with anyone's schedule, not that I knew of, but does that work for everyone else?
That
Yeah.
seems fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just
I
means
mean,
more opportunities to go to buy bread.
That is
I can't
true.
think of anything that we have on our docket next. This gives us more time to investigate that lady in red.
That is true.
Keep your voice down. She might be around.
But Avendir also mentioned that Drada or Flint, if either of you are comfortable talking to him about the future, working with him, that he has time now.
You're welcome to go for it.
Sure. I'll go talk with Avendir. Why not?
Okay, I guess we'll wait for you here then, and we'll head out together.
Okay. As Flint wanders in that direction, I do just want to ask: is at the table, sitting around in this sort of bar space that's sort of dwindling atmosphere, you get the impression that because they're sort of going to enter a cleaning stage, that they're not sort of open for regular business. It's really just the after party right now of people who stuck around from the competition. That those are really the only people being served at the moment. But is there anything you guys are doing sort of as Flint, throughout the conversation that Flint will have?
No, I think we're since we're in public, I would just have small talk about bread and, maybe even go, since we got some downtime, first real downtime we've had where we're not traveling, maybe just go exploring the surrounding area. Go for a hike, get outside. It's nice not being in the city walls, and it's been nice traveling, but we also need to explore a little bit more.
I would agree. I would love to explore the surrounding area. And also, he did ask where I would like to have this banquet / events. And I mentioned I think it would be great to have it in the park, in the middle of the city. I think that would be really like a nice scene to be surrounded by for the event, if you guys agree.
Your event?
Part of
Also,
the normal thing. He seemed kind of.
You're not there. Yeah.
and if anyone wanted to invite any guests, to let Avendir know so we can send letters out.
I mean, are you gonna invite your parents?
I was thinking about that, and Rory told me that they're on a mission when he tried to invite them to the tournament, which they're supposed to be retired. So I honestly have no idea what my parents are up to nowadays. They haven't been in contact with me in any way, but I just hope they're doing fine. All I know is that they're probably nowhere near here and very occupied.
I'm sure they're fine, but you also never know. It seems like you'd like to see them. You could always ask. People are allowed to say no.
Give me a history check, Aesop, as well. If you need me to make rolls because of your technology, just let me know.
No, I'm good. This is new. Pops up a box now for history for checks. That never popped up before. Very good.
Okay. Yeah, it's added. It lets you. Wait. Sorry, I'm just gonna click on your history myself. I want to see if something has changed.
Yeah, it should not be that big of a bonus. Wait.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It's only +1.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I
Well,
was looking at a wrong number. It
well,
was not
yeah,
on my computer.
No, it's fine. I'm just noticing that the way that you made the roll allowed you to. It seems like flag specifically intelligence, whereas the way I did it didn't do that. It's fine.
Interesting.
Well, just experimenting. But with a whoops, I deleted your roll, but it was a 15.
6.
Yep.
16.
Oh, wait. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I deleted your role because I'm a dummy. But with that role, you know that what I would say is like you actually have some faith that your message could be forwarded to them
Mm.
on a mission, but if you're going to have it like it's not that you couldn't reach them, you would just sort of have to send it through the recovery squad channels instead of sort of sending it to them directly. And then it would probably be forwarded to wherever they are. However, you probably have some certainty that a party by the end of the week would be really hard for them to get to wherever they are.
Right.
So just letting you know, you can write to them.
So I feel like getting a letter to the organization and then having it forwarded to my parents will take up the time leading up to the party. So I don't think it's worth it anyway. All right, cool. Yeah, no, I think it's just more. I don't think I'm afraid of them saying no. It's just like not getting a response back. Like at that point, I would be worried if they got the message and I just never got a response back. I think that's what I'm more worried about. Mouse.
Oh, you think they're in a dangerous situation?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of missions that my parents were on during my childhood were dangerous, as far as I'm aware. Just kind of the stories they brought back.
Your parents do. Oh God.
They
Very good,
were. Is anyone here familiar with the recovery squad and consonants?
No.
Would I have any idea, DM?
You can roll a history check.
Thank you. Not that I get much for this. Oh, decent roll.
I would actually. I don't know that Clax would have participated. No, I'm giving you something, but I'm saying I don't know that
okay.
this isn't necessarily firsthand information. I think you probably are familiar with the concept of the recovery squad as being sort of a semi-military force that helps to deal with like elemental problems. And the way that Clax would know that is that like the city guard would probably be briefed on potential threats like that, but in the time that you served there, the threats to the city were like that was one of the it was like fairy tales. Like it hadn't happened in so long that nobody really took it seriously in the city anymore.
Thank you.
So essentially, as part of my childhood, because my parents were both involved, it was an organization of people who got sent into elemental disaster zones or like mysterious circumstantial areas of unknown activity, and essentially we were there to either A, figure out what was happening, or B, if we knew what was happening, recover, heal, and get people out of dangerous situations, which therein lies the term recovery squad. So any kind of mission they kind of go on in it itself is dangerous. They're just not always the front line.
Seems like you must have had a really interesting childhood.
I did. That's why I thought I would be a little bit better with pressure during that specific circumstance, but I guess I still have a lot to learn.
Oh no, I thought you did pretty well with pressure from everything I've seen.
Also,
I appreciate it.
Intergenerational trauma is real and valid.
I appreciate it. It was a lot. So just knowing that my parents are back out there again doesn't make me feel too great. But I hope it's not anything too serious.
We'll pivot over because I feel I'm just sort of guesstimating how long Flint's conversation would take. There's probably this moment where you guys see Flint returning, but we'll rewind time a bit. And Flint, you're sort of brought to the one of like the outside tables that that you've seen people using this like magical oil to mask their conversations in, and Avenir just sort of, you know, basic salutations, etc., escorts you there and says, "How are you doing?"
I mean, doing pretty good. It's good to have good work and, you know, making some cash and whatnot. And I like the group, so been going well.
And how's the group doing, just from your perspective?
We're doing pretty well. Team's mostly functional. We've got our secrets, I think, but we're all, you know, we haven't known each other that long yet.
That's, I mean, that's fair. I've known you for, well, I've known of you for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, um, something in that ballpark. And you know, I know you don't know too much about me, and I don't expect to know too much about you. So, but I guess that's what this sort of opportunity is for. So, he says, sort of gesturing at the table, saying like this opportunity to talk. But I guess I just wanted to follow up on our earlier conversation, just sort of when we had first sort of sat down and met. You sort of, you know, you just sort of echoed it right now about, you know, making money, and I guess I just wanted to see if there's anything in particular you're looking for, if it's sort of just wealth and comfort, or if there's sort of you know, sort of an end game for Flint.
End game, I don't know if I think that far ahead, really. I'm very much enjoying working with the group. I feel like we're doing good things. I appreciate working for you. You seem more upstanding than basically any nobleman we've met so far, and things. I'm enjoying getting a chance to further refine my skill set and whatnot in a more practical way, um, whatnot. So, but yeah, as far as a long-term game plan, I don't know.
Well, I'm not noble yet, so I can't pretend to meet your expectations when I do put on the mantle, but I appreciate you saying that. I mean, I don't know what people have been saying about my conversations with them, but I can assure you that money is part of the picture.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not like trying to sound like that's all I want out of this or something.
That's
But
fair.
it is certainly a nice perk.
Well, and I want my I want the people who I work with to be comfortable. It's not, I don't seek for you to be in squalor situations, or to be doing things on my behalf while I, you know, wine and dine with my wealth. Like it doesn't seem right. So I guess it's, if I can speak slightly frankly, you know, the nature of my work, some of it could be sensitive down the line, and it's in my it's in my interest to know how I can motivate you so that somebody who doesn't bid higher. It's I don't mean to suggest that you're I'm sorry, I don't mean to suggest that you're corruptible in that sense, but I just like to know who I'm working with, and what I can do to be on their page.
I currently have no plans of trying to find another nobleman to work for. I think my experience with them in the past has been less than stellar. So I think having found one that seems on the up and up, I don't intend to look elsewhere.
Well, do let me know if something more specific does come to mind. If there's something within my power to enable or provide that, beyond the work to be done, then I'm open ears on that end.
I guess as we continue to work together more and we take on a more potentially, I guess, formal employment by you, I feel like maybe I should mention I've had some less than savory, things in my past. Things I might regret a little bit. They are behind me, but I don't want them to somehow end up reflecting poorly on
Yeah,
you.
he sort of kind of raises a hand and says, I'm sure that I could say the same to some degree. But I appreciate the heads up. I'm not terribly concerned. And I kind of also see this as a package deal. Not to say, I don't know how you all are feeling about each other, but I don't intend to split you up. You are all doing excellently together, and so if if there are things down the road that that come up, then I hope to be on your side of those things.
Excellent.
Good. Is there anything else?
I don't think so. I guess as I would potentially appreciate as you get more into, acting as a lord and whatnot, if you happen to hear any rumblings of a group, and I wouldn't seek out this group, but if you happen to hear word of a group called the Dawnbringers, I would be interested in knowing what you hear about them. But I believe they're fairly secretive, so I wouldn't expect that, you would know a ton or readily find anything. But if you do,
I will keep that in mind. I have not. I have no idea what that is.
it seems to be the case with most people I've asked.
Okay. Well, just making sure I understand. You do not want me to even seek it out? It's just more if I passively.
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
think it would be a good organization to go asking around about in higher circles. But if for some reason the information comes to you,
I'll make a mental note. All right. Well, thank you very much. If Drada would like to speak with me, then please feel free to send them my way. Otherwise, I just also letting you know, since I have you here, my hope is that our partnership can be more formal within the next day or two. I have been working on some paperwork, so.
I would like that.
He stands up, firm handshake, and then you make your way back to the table. And sort of as you guys are having this conversation about the recovery squad, you see Flint approaching.
Drada, if you want to talk to him now, he's available.
Okay. Sure. Also, did you know that Aesop's parents were like secret agents? Okay, bye. And then
What? What? I like
Drada
look
heads.
around. I'm like, what? Where did I say those words? 2 of those
Yeah.
words were not mentioned.
You've told us that before, right? I'm pretty sure I remember hearing
Oh.
where like you guys went in and like deal with like hurricanes or something, right? Like help
I
people out
mean,
after.
we dealt with like elemental disasters, which I mean, like sometimes they were hurricane related.
I'm unclear how hurricanes work in a world that is a floating island.
Oh, that's such a good question.
It's just whirling air.
I mean, if you're go ahead and roll me an intelligence check, Flint,
Ooh.
as this occurs to
Ooh.
you and you alone. With a
I went.
15, I will not say too much other than that you know that there are big storms. In fact, if you check out the world map, I'm just going to bring you here quickly if you're not here already. You know that this sort of spiral area is a kind of like an everstorm of sorts, a constant typhoon or cyclone of some kind that brings storms from out in the winds. That's about all you would know with the 15, though. But Drada, you find Avendir, and again, similar pleasantries. He sits you down on the outside of one of these stone tables outside and says, "Thank you. Thank you for making the time. I didn't know if. Sorry to drag you away so fast after the tournament."
Oh my god, you're so fine. No worries.
Well, I suppose I just wanted to take a moment to get to know you a little bit better. I haven't really had the chance to speak with you too much since we met.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that feels not wrong. What do you want to know? I think Drada is a Capricorn. I'm not confident in that answer.
I mean, if I'm being frank, nothing in particular. I guess, how have the last few weeks gone?
It's been really interesting. And I don't say like interesting in like the thing when people don't have anything nice to say, they just like default to the word interesting, not like that kind of interesting, like genuinely interesting. Although there were people who we met who I definitely would default by saying they're interesting. I mean, the folks in this part, like, they seem to be cool. I mean, Flint has fun secrets that are going to be delightful to unravel, and Mouse has boats that she mentions every once in a while, but like, people seem nice enough.
She has more than one?
Maybe just one. I got the impression that there could be. I just associate Mouse with boats of like the sky/star variety. I think it's more just my brain. So like, thanks for like putting this little squad together. Question for you though, like, how did you go about choosing people / like why me?
Well, I didn't. Um, I mean, I had requisitioned the Heroes Academy to seek out people, and they sort of handled the paperwork end of things and sort of played matchmaker and sort of sought like when I had made the requisition, there were certain types of personalities that I had sort of elected favoritism towards. I was looking for people who I would hope to have sort of budding talent, for people who maybe in their application showed that they were looking for a change in their life. People who were perhaps had qualities that according to the Heroes Academy rubric would show virtue or compassion. Yeah, the paperwork was sort of I imagine it took them a bit of interpretation to come to the conclusion to bring you all together, and I can't really speak towards their means in that regard, but I would like to say that I'm pretty pleased with what I'm seeing.
I'm happy to hear that. Also, happy to hear that I'm both budding and virtuous. That's news. That's exciting.
Are you not?
Who's to say? Who's to say? Okay, also a question for you. I'm not like really sure because it was kind of like this big rush moment. Do you know my mom?
Excuse me?
Her name's Emsa. She might know you. You might know her. We have the same last name.
He kind of gives a pause, and then he sort of is like looking at you and says, "Your last name?"
Alec.
Out of character, I want to ask you, sort of, if you're following traditional marriage sort of situations, is Nelik your father's name or your mother's name?
I'd imagine it's probably father's.
Okay.
Yeah, she may have had a different last name if you knew her a while back. She was at like Titlefall a while ago.
I think I know who you're talking about. It was some
Okay.
time ago.
Cool. I just wanted to be completely transparent about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, how old are you? No.
I'm like 17.
No. Sorry. No, you're fine.
Hmm.
I know your mother. Yes, she's a wonderful woman.
I am inclined to agree, but if we're gonna continue collaboration in some way, shape, or form, I just thought that should be brought to the table.
Well,
Some more context might be helpful for you in trying to figure out. I don't know what I'm looking for, what we're all looking for. So
I can. It seems like a small world for the Heroes Academy to have to made that connection, but well, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you as well. Well, met, but new context.
Yes.
How exciting, delightful.
Well, yeah, and he sort of looks like he's sort of lost in thought for a moment, just sort of like daydreaming for 6 seconds, and then I'm just sort of I'm giving you that opportunity to say anything that you want to say.
Yeah, so if you know my mom, you'll probably know what kind of work she's into, and I'm not interested in pursuing similar lines of work, if you know what I mean. And
I really actually don't know her that well.
Okay.
I mean, I was also we were
How did you know her?
we were students together.
Okay. What were you studying? What were you doing?
Sort of what perpetrated into my current career is sort of the Titlefall is, well, I was sort of starting my studies at Titlefall as trying to find myself a bit, but then they had a kind of, you know, they have all sorts of like arts programs, and part of that was there was a elective that was sort of like specialty crafting. It ended up meeting a mentor of mine that was into the brewing field, and it kind of all just exploded from there. But no, I actually
Titlefall is Cornell University with their winemaking class. Great, good to know.
I mean, they're much more well known for their you know, history and sociology and all sorts of other stuff. But I had my aha moment, and that sort of led me down a different path. I actually never graduated. So, but no, it was in one of those sort of I forget what they're called, the general courses that I had met EMSA.
So,
Yeah, and she was a good friend.
she's been important to me as well.
Is she still
Yeah,
well?
I mean, I haven't seen her in a hot minute, but I think so. As far as I know, she's vibing. But yeah, like, I know when we first met, like, I talked about a lot of, just wanting to see and explore and do and get to know people, and that's very much true. But given what my mom does and what I also do, or I'm interested in it at the very least, if you know of anyone specifically who, might have some knowledge about the drought and all that jazz, much appreciated. Any connections? Don't go like out of your way or anything. Like if they just pop up, I'd be like really excited to learn more.
Roll
And
an,
also keep
roll an insight check for me.
Mhm.
I'd say with advantage, just because you've established a little bit of a rapport through this conversation as well. Oh, okay. The reaction you see is sort of an oh. Like, he doesn't say that, but it's sort of like the eyebrow raises in a way that's like, you gauge that he's making a connection to something that when you mentioned the drought and you mentioned your mom's work, quote unquote, he has made a connection to something.
Great. Upon seeing that connection being made and not knowing if it's the actual connection, but like, and with that, like, I think that may inform why Mouse and I specifically, but the whole group are really passionate about getting some folks to safety. And thank you for helping with that.
I see. Of course. Well, if there's any connections I can make in that regard, I'll be sure to let you know. I'm sure we'll talk about this again.
Fair. I mean, also just like, there's like, I'm happy to talk about that. Also, like, I don't know, I'm still just excited. What I said in our first meeting isn't not true.
Oh, and I think I told this to Aesop too. If you are seeking interesting experiences, I hope to provide those in full.
Yeah, that's. I mean, will probably be some very interesting experiences, but yeah, I mean, haven't learned a ton so far, but what I've learned and the people I've met have been interesting at the least and informative at best, and some good people, some bad people, some interesting people all together.
Well, I'll keep that in mind, and maybe I can tailor some interesting experiences to your goals as well.
Much I mean, one, much appreciated. Thanks. Two, like keeping that on the down low would be like really great and cool. And I don't know. I mean, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Like, what do you want out of this relationship?
Well,
We love clear expectation setting.
Yeah. You just from playing off your earlier Nat 20 insight, you feel like the way that this conversation turned out was not what he was expecting, and so you're sort of catching him off guard where he's like not sure how to tell you what he wants in this moment. It's not that he's hesitant to say anything, it's that he's just sort of thinking about what you've said at the same time as he's trying to have two conversations at once, one with himself and one with you.
Absolutely.
And so as you sort of ask this question, he just sort of like shakes his head to try to shakes his head to try to return to the conversation with you, and says, well, I have immediate business that I plan on sharing with you all soon. Just the whole auction thing. If there's any level of engagement you guys want to have with that, then I'm happy to do that. And of course, I don't want to get carried away, but just my upcoming lordship could use some
Congrats
support.
again, by the way.
Thanks. Well, it is what it is, I suppose. But
well, that's an interesting response. Anyways, continue on.
But I have things that I could use some support on, but I also don't want to keep you from any directions that your group may wish to pursue on their own. So happy to sit down and run through the options together with everybody soon, though.
I mean, like, we all have things we want to do, and also, like, we spend a fair amount of time going to bakeries. So I'm not saying that guidance isn't helpful. So I think I mean, I'm not gonna blunt say I trust your judgment, but like I trust your offer of judgment at the very least.
I appreciate that, and I feel much more comfortable with our working together as well now that we've you and I have had the chance to sit down. So I appreciate your time.
Same with you. And I appreciate your discretion.
He nods, like, sort of seriously. Any couple minute conversations that the table is having with Drada out?
Do you guys think Avendir and Drada are related? Or...
Why would they be related?
I mean, they're both air genasi.
But then that would mean I'm related to every dragonborn?
I was about to say, is that...
I mean,
are we really talking about race like that right now? Are we going there?
Plot twist, Flint, racist.
I mean, I think all the halflings I've ever known are all related.
Mouth,
Well,
no.
I think that's because you all live on the same island.
You know that that's not true, Aesop. You have a halfling friend.
No, I meant that. Oh, yeah, that's not what I meant. But yes.
I'm just saying, I don't meet a lot of air genasies, so I assume they all have some sort of lineage they could map back to. I also don't know a whole lot of minotaurs, so yeah, if I meet another minotaur, I might assume you know him.
I'll actually let.
At this point, that 4 crossbow bolts entered your deck.
Flint is dead. Aesop, just roll me. I just want to lore drop some stuff, but go ahead and roll me a history check first.
Sure.
It's kind of in the elemental sphere of maybe knowledge.
Dang it! I'm trying to not.
It's where the
Got
DM
what?
does tell us that all air genasi are related.
I mean, we live on an island that you could walk across, and I've met one minotaur.
Very true. Very
I
true.
meet another one.
I am trying really hard to get it to where it's not getting my intelligence
Uh,
modifier.
Do you mind if I just roll for you for the time being?
You go for it.
You rolled. Sorry, you rolled like crap. But it is at this point that 4 crossbow bolts do not enter Flint's deck, but instead Drada approaches the table.
Same thing.
Out of curiosity, what sort of expression does Drada wear after that conversation?
So completely neutral. I think Drada ends the conversation by going like, this like dome thing, this like magic sphere thing, really cool. Okay, great, thanks, bye. And then like walking away. Yeah, I think Drada comes back very casually.
Okay.
Well,
That was fun.
bread?
Ed,
You guys proceed.
And then- Oh, sorry, DM.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, while we're walking and talking, how was your conversation, Drada?
Oh, it was really fun. Jacob apologizes while having Brussels sprouts in his mouth, or in their mouth. But
You're good. You're good. I set you up for failure. I waited till DM started
you,
to
thank
talk
you.
and transition. And...
Thank you. Okay, the vocal fry is gonna come in now. Yeah, it was pretty chill. Yeah, I learned. I didn't know Aesop. He went to Titlefall like a while back. That's like where he
I
learned to
know
like.
that.
Did you know that?
Did I know that? I feel like that's not new information, but it also is surprising me.
No, you did not know that. You knew Aurelia.
Okay.
You knew Aurelia did, the pianist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where
I'm
like
like, yeah,
he
I
started
did not
learning
know.
like brewery and stuff.
How'd that conversation get brought up?
I was talking about you and like just where like I don't know, I'm like Prada blushes like I don't know, I'm really like impressed and like proud of you and just all of the things that you've done and like trying to be like, where did you learn all these things? And then Titlefall came up and he was like, oh yeah, I did things there.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot of what I know today from there, from my favorite teacher ever, Dr. Drubel.
Dr. Gerbil?
Drubel?
Great.
Drubel, yeah. Great guy.
Yes. But yeah, no, I was like expecting some like more of a confrontation. Just I know in other groups, like other conversations from what we've heard back, like he hasn't been the most kind about. Or not kind, but maybe not considerate about Jerome and Cassandra rescue thing, but like went fine.
Good. At least he wasn't weird or awkward about it.
No, it was a good chat.
Well, you all make your way to bread. Clax, if you want to deduct a good old 5 silver from your inventory, you'll just get a round of various pastries.
As we're in line at bread, I will also mention the fact that supposedly a visitor from the capital, from the king, will be joining in town to deliver our quest as part of the winnings for the tournament.
Oh, that reminds me, did we get the impression that you're the, like, not necklace, but, like, pin or whatever that you got was, like, significant anyways? Like, can you get into cool bars now, or is it magic, or like
Do I sense any magical capability inside this pen?
I mean, you would need to. You can inspect it. There's nothing. You don't just sort of like know that something's magical, but if you
Okay.
to sort of inspect it and try to make like an Arcana roll, see if there's
Yeah.
anything interesting you see about it.
What modifier would I use for Arcana?
Intelligence.
That's still doing it for me. So weird, right?
Oh, there's the roll. It might be just something with mobile device or whatever you're. It is. It's fine. It worked out.
Okay.
21. You sort of give it just a sort of quick inspection, and you don't have a kind of exact perspective on what it might do, but you do see that there's some familiar kind of like very, very small runes in it, kind of similar to what you see Flint has carved into several weapons of the party in the past. They're sort of like on the kind of pearlescent band around the treble clef. They're very, very faint, and there's only just a couple. It seems, with a 21, I'll say it seems like if there is magic to this, it is probably pretty minor, but that there must be something there.
Interesting. No one mentioned anything. I mean, I do see that there is something there, but no one's mentioned anything about what it could do, or if it does anything, or there's some kind of enchantment on it. No one's really told me that kind of information, which I find odd.
In my head, I'm imagining the pipes that I don't know if anybody else has read the King Killer Chronicles, but I'm just imagining they get like a symbol that lets them essentially just play at really fancy bars and whatnot. But if it's magical, I mean,
I can take a look at it. Oh.
Oh.
I was
take a look at it
follow
tomorrow.
that with tomorrow.
Not bring identify today.
Oh,
Yeah,
can artificers not ritually cast things unless they prepare them?
I would swear up and down that
I'll
could
look.
previously, but I can't find it anywhere anymore.
All right.
So maybe it was one of the old versions.
I was gonna say maybe it updated.
Yeah, they've changed
Yeah,
artificers.
you can cast an artificer spell as a ritual if that spell has the ritual tag and if you have the spell prepared. Okay.
And if you have the spell.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's wizards who can cast things without
Yeah.
preparing them as rituals. So
I, for some reason, remember artificers always having like detect magic and identify like prepped or something, and I can no longer find it. So I either misremembered it or they changed it.
yeah. I mean, I believe that you Flint procured a pearl at some point. I'm trying to strike my memory.
Yes, because we got it really cheap from some crazy guy.
Right. Yes. Yeah. From the odd shopkeeper at Vind. Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, which does remind me. I'm gonna take whatever the piece of paper was that was on the cask password, and very quickly memorize that, and then probably go ahead and like burn it or something.
I mean, so in line at bread, you pull out this giant cask.
Whenever it makes sense. Basically, I don't trust that lady in red, and we've already had enough people try and steal casks and whatnot. So
Okay. Well, I will. So we'll say that you did this before it got put away, perhaps, just because you wouldn't do it in line here at Bread. But the word that is written very simply on this thin scrap of paper is the word soar, like SOAR. And I'm telling you this now as a DM. This is you've been told to remember this. If you lose it and you destroy this piece of paper, that's on you.
I will remember it.
Everyone, take this note down.
Yep.
Does Flint show it to everybody?
Yeah, that's the first question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but like, just in case I forget.
Time to fake getting drunk and tell everyone the wrong password.
Why don't we get you drunk? That seems like fun.
And then Drata becomes quiet very quickly.
You acquire bread.
Drata, how old are you?
Drata stays quiet.
Wait, have we not had this discussion as a group?
Thought we have, but I could be wrong.
I also
I-
thought we did.
I know it as a player, but I don't know if I know it as a character.
I think maybe it was like briefly mentioned before.
I don't know what the legal drinking age is. I will say, like, I think fantasy drinking ages tend to be like 12 or 14. So
That feels fair and reasonable.
I always just assumed it was like Italy. If you can sit at the bar, you can drink.
yeah. But
Why
that
are there
doesn't
so
mean
many
that
rules?
doesn't mean that young people aren't impressionable. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, I'm of drinking age. I just like choose not to. Not my thing.
I understand.
Fair enough.
I get it.
But if you ever change your mind,
I know where to get trashed, or with whom to get trashed.
which did we? So we got the cask and the pin, and we're gonna get a mission or an epic quest or whatever. And there's gonna be a party. Is there anything else that came from winning that? I don't think so.
No.
I think that's all of it. As I don't remember if I had this conversation with the group after Aurelia and I's conversation, because it's been 2 weeks. But as we're eating bread, I'll kind of go into the details she went over about what the quest will probably be like in terms of a ridiculous request that seems very odd and strange, and just overall like a very strange request in a limited time.
I mean, haven't all of our requests been a little strange?
I mean, to go into strange territory, she specifically told me her quest was to find a ship and a bottle that was thrown inside of a volcano. So that's how strange her request was.
It was a city in a bottle.
City in a bottle. Even worse.
Just like a diorama of a city, or like a city, like
Like
She
like
did not-
a small metropolitan. Okay.
Did
Okay, girl.
not specify.
That would be kind of a cool quest, though. I don't think I've ever seen a volcano or a city in a bottle. So I hope ours is that cool.
I
Does
hope
that mean
so.
there are people that are small enough to fit inside a city inside a bottle.
Well, I think they might have just been magically turned that small. I don't think they're actually that
Oh,
small.
that's when my head was so cool and and fun, and in reality would be so upsetting. Okay.
Yeah, not everyone can be as tall as I am, unfortunately, Drada. It's okay.
Rude.
Are there any known volcanoes on Ventus? I'm just like looking at the map. And...
I'm aware of one, but
Yeah.
I don't exactly know where it is.
Flint, you would not. There's none marked on the map, so that sort of exhausts Flint's awareness of things.
Flint, I will tell you one of the missions that I remember was a mountain-like event happened. Basically, like a whole mountain exploded into fire and lava. My parents and organization kind of went in and kind of helped people get out from the situation, but I couldn't tell you where it was.
I mean, that seems up our alley. We dealt with the meteors just fine. Like,
We is a big statement. Still
we as
think
a
I was
group,
not okay, yeah.
Some
you
of
were
us,
doing fine.
some of us dealt with shooting stars, and one of us happened to smooch a star, and that's also fair and acceptable.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mhm,
Hmm.
mhm.
Hmm.
The crowd loved it. That was almost better than if you had stayed and only focused on fighting and ignored everybody in the crowd. Like, that was a great moment. You've got some real fans.
Now, after you smooched a star, are the star.
Well, speaking of the star, I think we're gonna get together either tonight or tomorrow night. I still need a nap, but they're leaving soon, so I plan to get together with them before then.
You gonna
Well,
like,
go ahead,
gonna
Flint.
make it like a date, or are we all going?
Not a date, but just like it's just like a him and I like catch up, hang out
That
thing.
sounds really. I'm really excited to. Sounds like a lovely, private, intimate gathering. And I'm really excited to observe it from the shadows.
Yeah, I knew exactly where that was going, Drada. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, it doesn't help that we're going to be doing stuff out in the open either. So, you guys are very much free to follow along, as I know Drada will probably be doing anyway.
What can I say? I
I was
just
gonna
love.
Well, if Trotta's looking for something to do, I can probably keep him gainfully employed for the evening.
Well, that's fair and valid, yeah.
So we're
Fine
gonna.
with me.
You think we're gonna be in town for like a week?
What it sounds like, or at least the better part of a week.
Yeah, it seemed like the visitor from the capital and the event might land on the same day or around the same days at the end of the week. So we're here for a few more days at least.
How long of a hike was it back to Mistral? How long did
I mean, that was a good. I mean, yeah, if you're following the road, that's a good 6 days away.
Why do you want to go back?
Well, we left those necromancer spellbooks just buried in a hole somewhere.
Okay, no, that's fair and valid.
And I was gonna be like, well, if that's only like 3 days away, maybe we could grab them. But
I think
It's
that's something to add to the list of oh, we find faster means of transportation, maybe a skyboat, wink wonk, wink wonk, and want to do all the things we haven't been able yet to do. Like, I don't know, get a book, go to that cave, continue to steal mailboxes from people on the road.
I imagined Drada just saying wink wonk instead of actually winking.
Oh, Drada just fully said wink wonk, yes.
that's fair. I guess if we don't end up with a new job or mission, we could go check out that cage. Nothing else. But although, how could we set up this lady in red? I think we should go after her. Like,
At this point,
Okay.
you're sitting. I would say, bread doesn't really have sitting. It's sort of like it's a bakery that you go in and you pick up stuff and you go. So you're probably on the road somewhere, just for Clax's awareness.
Lintz, I'm all about this idea. First, we need to figure out if she's even still in town. And that's where I was looking at our friend Drada over here. Also, so Asa, you can just go relax this evening. But Drada, if you
Appreciate
wouldn't
it.
mind, maybe helping us out with some detective work tonight, because I'm kind of obvious and loud. I don't really stealthily make it anywhere, so we can find out any information. I definitely see, again, not causing a problem, not going to create problems for Avendir, but just if there's any information we can find.
You know, what I lack in tact, I make up in the ability to move where I want to without people seeing me. That sounded so much smoother in my head. Yeah, sure. Aesop, are you still for your little date situation? It's date. It's not a situation. It's a date. Are you still? Are you still in want of the cloak? You are welcome to take it if you want to get gussied up. Otherwise, I will request it back for snooping.
No, I don't think this one's gonna require a gussy up formal dress attire. So you may stalk in the shadows with your cape flowing behind you.
Ugh, I feel so empowered. Thank you so much.
So, while we're talking about it then, how do we go about getting any information? And I kind of look over at Asa, Flint, and Mouse, and do you guys have any that stuff you guys do to find people?
I'm gonna be a hard no on that. I'm more of a enhanced person. The only thing that I have that might be of use is major image, but she could probably see right through that, honestly.
yeah, I don't have a like locate person type of thing.
I mean, do you know her name?
Yes, Selnavan.
I mean, I could just write a message in the sky and invite her to come to dinner.
Whoa, no, no,
Then we
dear
could just
mouse.
ask her.
No, dear mouse, dear mouse. I really, your innocence is amazing. Like I feel I'm oblivious to the world. Your innocence is really something truly special and amazing. All right, Drada, looking at you now.
Well,
Don't have
okay.
any.
There might be some merit to that plan. We could figure out if she's still in town. We could follow her back from the dinner to see where she goes, and at that point, we know where she's staying at.
Also,
You just have to deal with the dinner part of that plan.
yeah. Quick DM question: Is she a human?
She is a half elf.
Mhm.
Although I think I revealed that, but it's sort of the way she wears her hair.
Yeah.
It's sort of hard to tell.
Okay. I'm not saying that I have a lot of experience specifically tracking humans and elves and people of that sort. I'm also not saying that. So if we ever have any vague idea where she may be, I can probably take things a little further from there than maybe otherwise.
The problem is we don't even know if she's in town. The reality is
Yeah,
she
that's
wasn't at the second night events, so she could have very easily just used that first night and have a sneaking suspicion to meet with. That's where we should start. Just popped in my head. She was actually, I think it was you, Drada, said she was talking to someone.
rare.
And I'm sorry, what was it?
It's in my notes.
It was Ellen Trugust, the mayor of Skyrim.
Ellen.
Yep.
Isn't
She met
Ellen
with
still in
number.
town?
True guys. I mean, that's probably a better bet because she wasn't, Miss Vaughn was not at the second night's events. So my guess is she used it to this event as a reason to do whatever dealings and shady stuff she had. Trugast, if she's still here, it might be a push. She's still here. At DM, did I recognize Trugast at this morning's event? I don't think so from the way it sounded.
She was there.
Oh, she was there. Okay.
Yeah, she was sitting kind of quietly in the far upper right corner.
All right then. So I think we got to start. Now,
Well,
question is, oh, good, Flint.
we just spitballed ideas that might be terrible. But I know Aesop is able to look like other people.
Correct. I probably should have mentioned that.
I think,
Aesop's not the only one.
but he's also, I think, the only one of us that's a great liar.
How
I can be other animals.
dare you?
And like maybe Aesop could just look like somebody important, like the mayor or something, and just go to whatever that building was we first checked in and ask where such and such is staying.
Again, I think the worry is if they're not at the hotel, they're more than likely staying with contemporaries. Maybe they're staying with the mayor of Horizon, who's not, if I recall correctly, too fond of us at the moment.
Yeah.
But if we're taking a walk from Bread, do we spy the mayor's house in our travels, guys?
I mean, it's worth a shot.
It's one of the places marked on our map, the mayor's, which maybe that's where we stopped in to check in.
That's where you
now that I'm
stopped.
saying it.
Yeah, that's where you met. I think it was Teresa, the dwarf woman, and where you first encountered Mr. Puddles.
Puddles.
I'm flagging this not for the purpose of stopping you, but Aesop, it's sort of, are you planning to take a literal nap? Like, are you heading back to the canopy?
I imagine that Aesop is exhausted. Especially after 3 days of competition. So if they're gonna go snooping and spying, I think I'm gonna sit that one out. And if there's any activities tonight, then we'll see. Depending on when I get with Jory. One of those names.
Jerori.
Jory. There we go.
Or Jory, our favorite friend. I mean, if you need to like nap in the afternoon, I mean, it's been made very clear that what I do is also best in the dark. Nighttime escapades could be fun.
So I think if you guys go now, I'm gonna head back to the room and just call it night for a few hours.
Alrighty.
Hey, get some sleep before your day. Bye.
Okay, well, it's time to say bye.
We
Have a good night.
Well, Aesop departs unless anybody stops him. Let's drag you over there. What would the remainder of our party like to do?
I think we take a walk by, just to see, because his house has got to be somewhere near the office. I can't imagine his house is too far away. So I think we take a walk by, just kind of put eyes in the area, just kind of keep an eye out, see if we see either the mayor or Trugast, and maybe even poke in the mayor office, just see if he's, in there or anything along those lines. Just see if we can't get any information. But again, guys, it's not. I don't want us to cause a stir in Horizon. I don't want us to cause problems. It's just if we can get any information, I want to make sure we take advantage of it.
Let me make sure I'm thinking about this right. Brightbeard is the mayor of the town we're in, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And Trugast is the mayor of
Skyhelm, which is elsewhere.
There we go. So yeah, I'm not sure where Trugast or So-
Here's a
Only-
proposal, and I don't know if it's okay. It could be, again, terrible idea. We are in fact the champions of the event planner, who may or may not know where people are staying if we wanted to ask Avendir.
True.
Based on my-
Unclear if Avendir would love us planning to snoop on.
Oh, it looks suspicious as hell.
Based on
But
my conversation with Avendir, I didn't get the warm fuzzy that he would really want to partake in any of this, or even that he seemed intimately close with what her proceedings were. Other than she was an invitee, that was about the extent of the knowledge he had, or at least that he shared with me.
so the mayor's office we go?
We just
I
trying
think-
to like scope it out and then
Just casual walkthrough. If we happen to see something that catches our eyes, maybe we find I was gonna say a bar near there, but not looking. Ooh, I forget what the melanoma is. I'd have to go back to my notes. But let's go take a walk. Stretch our
Maybe
legs.
We see an assistant running frantically from his house to his office. Who knows?
Okay. If you can just sort of give me, because I think that it's sort of like could become a role-playing pit hole of like, let me check this alley, let me check that alley. Can you sort of each of you sort of paint me a picture of what you are prioritizing in this sort of afternoon of investigation?
I'll go first if you guys don't mind.
And you can, and one person could also offer help to somebody else for advantage. But
For me, it's I don't have the investigative skills. I wasn't an investigator for the City Watch, but on my end, it's more of where are the resources or the security details or the porters or anybody else that would be with a mayor or a noble traveling. Where do I see those people congregating, moving, coming and going? That would really be the first thing, because if I walk through and, don't see anybody anywhere, that's fine. But if I start seeing like people who are in different style clothing, okay, they're probably with a troop. Now, is it true, guys? Don't know. But that would be like my cue. Okay, maybe if I see someone here, maybe I just kind of walk with them for a block, see if they're going anywhere close or if they're heading towards downtown type thing is what I'd be basing my looks for.
okay, is anybody specifically spending their afternoon helping Clax with that part of it?
I think in a very similar fashion. I think Drada's less looking at. Drada's also looking around trying to find things that would anecdotally connect, but I think Drada's more looking at like the architecture of the buildings nearby and trying to find like something that looks a bit more fancy and proper, and then maybe theoretically if Flax is looking for people rushing to and from and they rush to and from a fancy building, then Drada would maybe be able to help put two and two.
Okay, I still see those as two different things, but they certainly could help to triangulate something more specific.
I was gonna say I will, as Clax is clearly the one with history here. I will kind of tail Clax, handing off cornbread and telling about local plants and help my best in his efforts to find people. Also looking similarly with my kind of decent insight and understanding of people, just kind of doubling down on that, and anybody who looks like they're working versus just out for pleasure.
I think.
But yes, I will help Clax.
And I think Flint's doing what he can to just scope out the mayor's office in case someone is breaking in there later. Just trying to, look at best ways in and out and whatnot. See if he can tell from the general layout and his memory of being inside and whatever, where they might keep records or anything like that. Just scoping out the mayor's office
Okay.
without looking too obvious.
Yeah. I see that as being a separate role from Drada. Drada's focused on what sounds like sort of buildings outside of the mayor's office that people might be congregating, whereas you're sort of laser focused on trying to determine what the deal is at the mayor's office and what opportunities may or may not be there. So if Clax could roll with advantage and Drada, and well, let's say Clax, I would say we'll start in order. Clax, are you in doing this work? Are you moving and shaking, or like sneaking and listening? Like, are you sort of like trying to make connections and like small talk your way into information, or are you trying to just sort of like observe in the shadows?
Well, I don't know if it's kind of in between the two, if you don't mind. I'm not really I'm not shaking hands or anything like that. It's more observing people, but also not sneaking around, because I feel sneaking around would just draw more attention to myself. So it's more of just I'm walking the block and just taking things in, trying to see if I can piece things together, if that makes sense.
Just give me either a persuasion if you're sort of more on the talking to people end, or insight if you're more on the sort of reading people end.
Insight is what I think I'm going more for.
Okay.
Don't recall which one's better.
Well, but you have advantage because Mouse is helping you.
Thank you, Mouse.
We make a great team. Here, have more cornbread.
No. Oh, yeah, all that.
It's not that you it's not that you can't meet people or see people moving about. It's that you kind of just don't catch what you're looking for. People who are working are, they head into one building, and then you don't really have like access to observe them further. Just sort of like random attendants, people who are a little bit more dressed up than others. So you're it's sort of like, you probably identify a few spots that people of import, or at least like scribes and stuff, might be traveling to and from, but you're not really picking up the information beyond that to kind of narrow down anything about Ellen, unfortunately. Drada, I feel like this is probably just strictly investigation, unless you want to tell me otherwise, to sort of look for fancy buildings or sort of buildings of a standout nature.
Sure. Rada's not great at investigating. We'll see how it goes. Yep, there you go.
I'm just going. Well, yeah, I feel like I may have forced you into that, but I do want to just give you the opportunity to sort of narrate Drada's approach to that, just so I can sort of rule what the 11 is.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of trying to see. I think the architecture is part of it, trying to find a building that seems like it is both a home, but also could be grander than the others. And also, trying to see, are there a lot of people coming and going? Are there gates that are somewhat prominent that may be trying to keep people out if it's an official residence? Is there anywhere within the vicinity of the mayor's office that feels and looks especially secure?
Okay. I will say, let me answer that shortly and move over to Flint as you're sort of eyeing the mayor's office. What is if you could tell me what you want to roll to sort of define your approach. Like, are you trying to talk to people on the way in, like as they come in? Or are you just sort of like hiding behind a tree out front? So like, what is Flint doing?
I think mostly, yes. At the very least, starting out, like, he would be just kind of casually walking around the building. I know it looks at least on the map, appears fairly close to the park. So maybe just finding a place to sit and observe for a while, and before making like another lap and whatnot, and just trying to get a sense for how the building is organized and everything else. I think investigation.
Yeah, it's
but
like you're staking out nonchalantly at the park. That makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. I think what I'm sort of looking to do is combine Drada and Flint's knowledge in advance of your conversation that you will have when you rendezvous at some point. Drada sort of is the person who is sort of able to pick out a building that is sort of like it is sort of a gated building that sort of it's gated and connected to one side of the mayor's office, and sort of it seems like there's a courtyard or a kind of like garden of some kind that is between these two buildings and sort of walled off on the edges. It does have a sort of metal gate, so you are able to see through it, and it's sort of like in Drada's mind, I tend to think that sort of connects as like, oh, what's that building? That's an interesting place. And then sort of when you would eventually reconnect with Flint, you probably, one of the things that you pick up with a natural 20 is just that the sounds of like a dinner being prepared coming from a back room in the mayor's office, and seems to be sort of the clatter of dishware. You spot sort of a back door that there's like a butcher who comes in and brings in sort of food that is ready to be prepared for an evening meal, perhaps. And you are able to gather, Flint, that what you see that Drada doesn't is sort of that when food and supplies come in this back door, they're sort of eventually funneled through that garden into this other sort of what must be sort of a dining hall or a sort of more fancy or private restaurant or something of that nature. And it's sort of like with what Drada was specifically looking into, you're kind of able to make that connection. I will say with the natural 20 as well, Flint, you get a general layout of the mayor's house. It seems that not the mayor's house, the mayor's office. It is a multi-story building. How long are you spending here? Just off the top of your head?
I don't know, probably 2 hours ish, something like that. I figure we got over here early afternoon, something like that.
Yeah, with the time it takes you to get there and spending about 2 hours, the connection you're able to make with the natural 20 is that it seems that the public facing sort of service that the mayor's office provides, and sort of the office area, which you sort of identify as being upstairs, you start to see like candles being dimmed in the upper levels around a time that you would expect to be like, all right, the business is closing down. And so that's sort of the mental connection that you make, is that the mayor's office as a visitor center with the business sort of in the upper level is winding down, and that the noise of the dinner preparations is picking up.
And the dinner seems to be on the main floor of the mayor's office, or that side building?
The side building. The main floor seems to definitely is what contains the sort of kitchen and storeroom, though. That's where all the sound is coming from. It's the sort of from the main building. There must be a kitchen, because plates and food are being sort of carried in sort of a prepared state to the other building. You get the idea that dinner is probably starting pretty soon, and to the point where it'd be difficult to rally anybody to come see it. But I would say, this is probably a nightly occurrence. There might be future dinners here on other nights.
Right.
It's a little bit abstract because unless you're like in the walls, there's not a whole lot to really give you. But you do know that this is a place where things are happening with important people. For it to be a walled off area in the mayor's sort of campus, for lack of a better word.
All right. I'll work on reconvening with the rest of the group then.
Okay. We will take a break and then make some decisions about where people are reconvening and what Aesop is up to as well. After a couple-hour nap. So let's go ahead and be back in 5-ish minutes.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. We return. I'm going to assume. Well, let's just rewind time a bit. Did you guys decide where you would rendezvous and when? Aesop not included in this part.
I imagine we would have just designated a point from before we split off, and just said meet back here in a couple hours.
Would that be the
Yeah.
Canopy or the Rising Melody or somewhere else?
I imagine fairly close to the mayor's office, just to see if there's any things we wanted to accomplish in this area based on anyone's findings.
Would it be like the Unity Monument? Just center of town?
Makes sense.
Works well for me.
All right. Well, at some point we will get to that, but I do want to rewind time and go to Aesop. You have a small nap. You were told, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, you were told that Jory would meet you back at the Rising Melody at some point this afternoon or evening. So that would probably be where you would go to look for him, unless there's anything else you would do.
Is it afternoon/evening time now? At this point?
Yes, it will. It certainly is the time that, assuming that you rest comfortably for 2 hours, I will say that you are sort of at the prime time to head back to the Rising Melody and meet with him.
I kind of have that wake up from my nap of like, where am I? Who am I? What am I doing here in this bed sort of moment, just because the nap hit that hard. And so I get ready, make sure I'm not looking too bad, and I'll make my way down to the Rising Melody.
Okay. You arrive kind of in the, like, still pre-sunset, late afternoon sort of period, and you see that the interior, the people who had sort of come here for the Tournament of Tales have all left at this point, and Avendir has sort of, you don't actually see him at the moment, you just sort of see his people milling about and sort of putting on the finishing touches. They've removed the stage, they've removed that sort of like stone pedestal that the pin had set on, and sort of brought out more tables. It's sort of they're very close to being back into just sort of just like restaurant mode, for lack of a better word. And you see Jory sitting at the bar. You're sort of approaching from behind at this moment, as you sort of look through the open archway of the front door. You just sort of see the familiar shape of Jory just sort of reading a book, patiently reading as best as you
That
can.
makes sense. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense that he's reading a book at a freaking bar. So I will, if there's a mirror nearby, I will just check to make sure I don't look too busted, and just kind of do like a pat down, make sure everything's kind of like laid nice. In my normal, usual uniform clothing, nothing too fancy. And I'll make my way over and grab up a seat next to him.
He turns to you with like sort of the expecting but still like mildly surprised to see right then. Like he was turning around to go look for you, and then you just are there, and he's like, "Oh, hey."
Any a good book?
Just getting some studying done. Nothing interesting. He immediately closes it and stashes it in a bag, just sort of like to give you his full attention.
How's the studying for, I'm assuming, this new position, or are you going back to school along with this new position?
Well, it's just sort of catching up on some of the more, I mean, I could tell you, it could be quite boring.
No, please. I mean, we've known each other long enough. I don't find any of your topics or interests boring at all.
Okay. Well, I'm just really catching up on some of the more, you know, locked away institutional knowledge that the department is sort of reserves for people who are working there. So, I've only just started pretty recently, so I'm basically just going through what a sort of self-paced orientation of
Huh.
information, if that makes sense.
I'm surprised they allow those kind of books outside school grounds.
Well, I think the fact that I was traveling with um, Euros, the judge, sort of he he was sort of a supervisor in that sense, so it was fine. Though
Right.
he must have forgotten because I still have it.
Well, hopefully it's not like a library book where you owe a due or something. That would be bad.
No, nothing like
Okay.
that. But yeah, well, I'll ask for forgiveness if it comes to that. But hey, you're here.
I am. If you're not doing anything for the rest of the night, I would love to have a walk around the city. If you haven't been to Bread, my group loves that freaking place to the point of an obsession at this point. So we can stop on the way there or on our little trip around.
You look and he actually grabs like a small sort of satchel on the ground, and like a blanket that is wrapped up with a sort of a bundle of stuff. And he says, "Oh, I mean, I already picked up food. If we just wanted to have like a little picnic or something."
You know what? I don't know if you've been to the park in the middle in the city, but it's really nice, and I think I would thoroughly enjoy that.
Sure. I packed enough for your friends. I didn't know if I didn't get the chance to meet them if they were interested.
They are. I took a nap. I
I understand.
separated myself from everyone as they're kind of exploring, doing their own thing in the city. I desperately needed A, alone time, and B, a nap. Because it's been a crazy couple days. And my body, with everything now finished, semi, um, it just kind of like mentally collapsed.
Sure. Well, let's go take a little break then. And if we have leftovers and your friends want them, then that's fine too.
What kind of food did you happen to bring? This is on the way over to the
Yeah.
park.
Well, I know about your diet, so
Mm.
he it just to abbreviate some parts of this, he will eventually, once you guys find a place to sit down, he unravels a the sort of satchel that sort of serves as like a picnic blanket of sorts, pretty large, enough for both of you to comfortably fit on without sort of too much sort of being cramped or anything. And you find that it is sort of it's like, I mean, it's getting into the late afternoon at this point, but it's the equivalent of breakfast charcuterie. There's like little
That sounds
pancakes and
amazing.
waffles. There's like piece of bread, some cheese, leafy greens, jam, crackers, like a few cobs of corn for anybody who wants it. It's all in the vegetarian realm. Um, and you imagine that was intentional. But it sort of has a little bit of everything. It's not quite dinner, but it's sort of like snack
Snacks.
food. Yeah.
Right. I'll start devour on some of the crackers and jam. As a player, that's some of my favorite charcuterie snacks as well.
Yeah, there you go. And there he did bring a sort of canteen of juice. It's not wine. But it is like a special like pomegranate juice that he sort of explains as like, oh, the people at the Morning Dew said this is everybody's favorite.
Oh. Well, I can't wait to try some. Cheers.
It's straight up pomegranate. It's like it's probably pomegranate concentrate that has been watered down not enough. It's quite strong. But he cheers us with you, and he has all the utensils you need to have a a relaxing time eating, and he, you've only just arrived. I'm not trying to fast forward through the whole thing, but he says, "Well, are you planning on coming back to the city anytime soon?"
Honestly, I don't think any of us in the group know what we're going to be doing. I think there's going to be a mission or quest that Avendir sends us on. I kind of got the vibe that he has something in mind, but hasn't mentioned any of the details. And then we have this grandiose quest from the king himself that is going to be sent to us later on in the week as well. So I think wherever those two avenues take us, that's where I'll be going.
He kind of has a look of shock on his face that you don't have to roll an insight for. He says, "I don't think you've told me about the Avendir thing, and I definitely don't remember anything about this Kingly Quest thing."
Oh, so the Kingly Quest thing was part of the winnings for winning the tournament.
Oh.
Aurelia, the lady who was the pianist during some of the festivities, she and I had like a brief conversation about it. So that's the only reason why I know that's a little bit more information about it. And then, so I originally started my very odd adventure, I would say, through Avendir. He kind of recruited a group of people, me being included, to help out in like very wayward town, and through that met everyone else in the group, and it's been like that for quite a while now. It's been quite the adventure, and I'll go into a little bit of the detail about kind of what's been going on. All detail, nothing kind of left out.
He is sort of listening intently and sort of contributing as well. It's not, he doesn't just sort of like surrender to the story. He tells you about some of what he's up to. It sort of is in the like bureaucrat's realm of, I imagine that you're interested in hearing about it just because you're interested in what he's up to, but it sounds like oh, Jory has a real job now.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that's like, I without putting thoughts into Aesop's mind, it's sort of like there's probably just a realization that it's like, I guess school's over for all of us.
Yeah. How's Teresa and Bruce doing? I wanted to send out messages to them, but I thought maybe you could wrangle them together if they were free to come over, but obviously that was not the case, as per your circumstance. But I don't know if you've heard from them lately.
Not too much, unfortunately. My time has been just sort of a little strapped, but as far as I know, they're doing well. I know that Savvy is putting on a show sometime in the next month.
Is she? That's amazing.
I don't know anything about it, unfortunately.
Can't believe she slipped my mind. Been a long few days.
No, it's fine. And I think, Bruce is doing Bruce things. In fact, I have just a weird gift for you. And he pulls out a couple figurines. They are all sort of like small wooden dolls, not sort of like they're each carved from probably a piece of wood. They're not very they're not detailed at all. They're very, what he's about to tell you is a very abstract comparison. These are like pawns, or do you know those like money dolls or the Mooney dolls? They're just like blobby shapes that have arms and legs.
So no detail.
Not a lot of detail. Very like more silhouette, like loose silhouettes. Yeah. But he pulls out these dolls. One he hands to you, and and it is a sort of like shorter statured, like proportionally figure of a character that's holding a yellow flower. And he says, I got some things for you so you could remember us during all of your adventures. And he gives you this one and says, this is Poppy, of course. And he gives you another one that is holding a small violin and says, Savvy. And gives you one that is somebody who's holding sort of like an open book in the hand. It seems like there is detail to these things, but it's all in like what they're holding, not so much in the body itself.
Right.
And then this one, you wouldn't believe me unless it existed, so I thought I should just buy it. And he pulls out a literal bobblehead of your actual friend, Bruce.
Oh my! What has this man been up to?
I don't know. He told me that these were a thing. I didn't believe him, and then I went to I just saw it and I had to buy it.
I would have done the same thing. I mean, I hope this means that he's been successful.
Or he has one crazed fan out there. I have no idea.
But did he give you this, or did you find this?
No, I found it.
Where?
The little mellow gnome place down the street. He sort of points, like you guys are in the park. He points eastward. Like I literally just found this morning when I said I was going to go shopping.
Is there like any writing on the bobblehead down at the base of like a title or a name or anything?
You look at it and there's nothing at all. It's just Bruce, like with, and it's colored, it's painted as well. It's a guitar, sort of the Sting face paint, and it's pretty well made.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to step by and figure out why in God's name he ended up here.
Let me know, but I'll, and if you find another one, this one's yours, because I can see Bruce probably, if I wanted to, just stop by and find him. This one's for you, so that you sort of can see him as well. But if you find another one, let me know, because I kind of want one.
I will absolutely send it over, mail it to you if I find another one. Now I'm gonna have to be on the lookout for it. But I actually, unfortunately, it's not a gift, but it's an item that I found while I've been on adventures. I don't know if you know much about this kind of stuff, but it's just a really cool item. So I'll pull out the gem. I found this in a literal tree. I know, strange, crazy, but I think it's an elemental gem. And I'll hand it over to him.
He sort of just like takes it in his hand and starts turning it over and says, it's pretty.
It's very pretty. Blue, great color.
He smiles at that.
Well, I mean, look what I'm wearing. There's something in it, and I've been trying to make a connection with this entity. Seems friendly as of right now, so I'm like, hopefully I'm not gonna turn crazy or go wild, but I'm trying to understand them more, and it's been on my mind lately, and because I haven't gotten any, I don't think I've gotten any progress through lately, unfortunately. So I'm trying to think of the next step of like what I could do. If you have any ideas.
Pausing that conversation momentarily, because it happens that the rest of the party around this hour said that they were all coming to the Unity statue in the park that Asaph happened to be picnicking at.
So
I want to I want to
Connect that
offer.
detail.
I would like to offer two of you to make a perception check. Just sort of, they are not right next to the Unity thing, and so it's sort of like, do you happen to see them on the horizon sitting down? I will offer that opportunity.
I will happily partake in one of
And I'll happily join Mouse in that.
Okay. You want to both give me a roll? Okay. I'm going to say, I mean, there was no effort to choose a secluded location in the park. So I'm going to say sort of like in the moments that the party is sort of, it's the appointed hour that the party has decided to meet, and some of you might have showed up a few minutes earlier than the others, but you sort of rally, and as you're sort of like just being like, hey, it's sort of you, there's both Drada and Mouse in sort of exchanging greetings, sort of like happen to look in the same direction and see the larger shape of Aesop sitting down, probably about 300 feet away. Well, that's too far. I would say it's too far to really see something that far away. Maybe like 150 feet away. The shapes of Aesop and Jory, like sort of sitting under a tree within the park. But you are
I just
all
guys myself.
Yeah, you don't see them.
Dang.
Hey, look,
Um,
it's Aesop.
Oh, it sure is.
Should we go say hi?
I know I've been annoying. Part of me feels like we should give them space.
I second that.
We could also be terrible people. That's also
Well,
a very valid
Or
possibility.
go ahead, Flint.
Throwing it out there, now that we're actually like kind of thinking about this, could Jory potentially know anything about, I don't know, the mayor or the other mayor or Selena Selny Bond? Like he was like working for somebody important, wasn't he?
One of the
One of the
judges.
judges.
I mean, we could say hi and casually ask.
I would say I'm assuming you have 2-minute discussion where you're like, oh, there's this building, and oh, there's a kitchen there. Just because I had sort of through the
Yeah,
rolls
yes.
had already connected the dots for you. So
Fair.
I'm just saying you have that brief conversation and you all become aware of what I
Hot
shared.
take. Okay, here's a plan that I think will get us the best of both worlds.
Okay.
Which is, let's wait and watch and see when the conversation looks like it's wrapping up. And then, as they're about to, part ways, then we make our introduction. This gives them space. It also gives me the chance to still intrude.
Lurk.
I mean, I love a lurk. But I say this partially because I want the comic timing to be right. But more honestly, because they should chat.
Fair. That seems reasonable to me.
I will watch for lulls in conversation.
I was gonna say, or we could just ignore them for a bit and come back in a little bit.
We don't want to miss them.
But I think stays nearby and keeps glancing at them every now and then. But we're in a park and there's some good trees, and Drada's gonna climb some trees.
Drada climbs trees. Coming back to the Aesop Jory conversation, I think you sort of ended on sort of asking him for help, I think.
Yeah, just if he knew how if he knew or knows of another way I could possibly connect to this entity in here. But it's a long shot, but it's just kind of me going through the thoughts that have been going on in my head lately.
I imagine throughout the course of the conversation, you explained some of, because you said you sort of went over everything. You explained some of the religious connotations that you had sort of researched and explored. And Jory says, well, I mean, you said you've tried to talk to it. Have you tried to pray? I don't know that that's your thing, but
It's not, and it's not crossed my mind.
or
I've never. It's not really a Minotaur thing.
yeah, and I don't know how those things really work too much either, but maybe there's an expert of some kind, sort of in the is it Vapos, the water religion department, that somebody priest or priestess who might know how to make that connection.
Well, I haven't seen any like religious institutions to the individual elementals here in the city. It might be a thing in Consonance. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a temple in Consonance. I think it's on the northern end of town. I've never been inside, but
Okay, that's good information because I've never been to that area either. I didn't even know something like that honestly existed. But could you do me a favor? I don't know if it's entirely possible for you to do something like this, but in the more restricted books that you may have access to, if you could just search up the name Neptus, I feel like that's the name of whatever entity is inside this gem. Anything involving the name would be a great. It would mean a lot, and help with figuring out what this is.
As a DM with your Silver Tongue ability, I don't think you can fail a perception check against Jory. He's a friend, but I want to see how well you succeed. If you could roll me a persuasion check.
Yes.
The minimum roll you can actually have is like some obscene number, but. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the minimum roll you would have had was 17, but with a 24, he sort of looks up to you and says, sure, I'll do what I can. I mean, I don't want to get myself in trouble on the new job, but if...
Right. It's only if it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, where... Is there a way I can reach you when you're out and about?
Ooh, that's a good question. There's a way that I could reach you through a friend. I have a friend in the group. Her name's Mal. She could reach out to individuals if she doesn't mind reaching out every once in a while just to see if there's any progress. But I don't know where I'll end up to have you send mail to me, unfortunately.
Okay, I mean, that works. And of course, if you ever stop by the city, then, well, you know where to find me, so.
Yes, that is very true. But, yeah, besides this gem and this tournament, I've just been trying to work on myself, finding out who I really am as a person, like outside of the family business, the family org. Still kind of bothers me that they're on business, but they know how to take care of themselves.
I'm sure they'll be fine, and I'm sure whatever this quest is, that you'll do just great on that too.
I appreciate that. How are you feeling heading back home?
I mean, there's a moment where he's debating how to answer that. It sort of is the expression on his face is like, it'll probably be boring, and that's probably also the enough of a lull in the conversation that sort of the other team sort of just sees a pause, and they're probably like, oh, they're winding down.
Go time.
Sorry, Jacob, I didn't hear you. Is there anything you're doing?
Oh, is it go time? Is go time? It's go time.
Gerada says from a tree outside of earshot of anybody.
Rude. I come down out of the tree and then go. Now do time. Now looks like a good time. Mouse, you're good at introductions.
Hey, run up and say, "Hey, Aesop, we didn't expect to see you here."
So,
Yeah.
Perfect.
I imagine I see Mouse running up to us,
Yeah,
and I just kind of look over.
Jory's Jory's about to answer your question by being like, "Well, it'll be boring, but," and then you spot Mouse over his shoulder.
and then I kind of quickly say to Jory, being like, "Well, you wanted to meet them. I guess now's the opportunity." And just kind of give a heavy sigh, like, "Oh God, all right."
He spins around and sort of just puts his wears a warm smile and says, "Oh, hey," and sort of is it everybody who's approaching at this point?
I'm hanging back quite a bit, but yes, I'm not gonna be antisocial, but I'm kind of.
Yeah, you're in the back line. Hey, Aesop's friends. You guys hungry? He sort of points down at the, I would say, probably half-eaten charcuterie board, because even with somebody of Aesop's size, he had gotten enough food to fill everybody.
Ooh, snacks.
To help yourself.
Spread, my.
Yeah.
So what brings you guys here? Kind of give them all like a wide eye, like, "Oh wow, so crazy! What a coincidence! Look."
Andrada just beaming. Just goes, "We thought this would be like a really great place to meet up and talk about our plans for tonight."
Wow, what great timing you guys have.
At this point, I walk up and just, we're sorry. It didn't plan out to be this way. Just we literally happened to stumble across you, so I do apologize.
No, yeah, I get that. It's fine.
But that being said, oh, go right ahead, DM.
No, you go ahead. Jory's just like beaming and looking at you all, but continue.
Drory, is it?
Yeah. Hey, what's your name?
I'm Clax. Quick question for you. You wouldn't happen to know where crap, just went brain down our name. Trugast?
Trugast, yes.
You wouldn't happen to know where Mayor Trugast would be staying, since you were with the judges and higher ends, or maybe even a son of on. We kind of want to have a conversation with them if they happen to be in town.
I'm just gonna roll a d20 for him. He says, I think that there was, when we first arrived, my boss was one of the judges. I don't know what you know. My boss had met with and had dinner with I think with the mayors at the mayor's office. I think that is this. I didn't get close enough to really catch many of the details, but I guess that they're just doing mayor business throughout the week. I don't know the second name that you said. Vaughn something.
Nope, that's fine. I was just curious. So, do you know in that? Did you get the impression that they're just staying at the mayor's house with the mayor, or in that general vicinity, to make it easier for those meetings?
Yeah, I got the impression that they were hosting. I think the other guy too, the Lord of the Pond guy. I think he's also there.
Oh, Puddles. Ah.
Puddles.
His friends call him. We had a really nice bonding experience registering for the tournament. His friends call him Puddles.
Okay, I'll be sure to I mean, if I'm ever friends with him, I'll be sure to like.
Please, as much as I would love to see that, I would not recommend calling him Puddles.
I'm giving y'all the dirtiest look. And I look at Jordan, I'm like, don't listen to them. Please do not call him Puddles.
I will not call him Puddles.
Yes, it's as enjoyable as it would be. That is a little bit of a joke that I'm sure Asaph can relay to you, as the rest of us now can take our leave now that we got a chance to meet you. It was very nice to meet you, Jory. And
Well, I mean, I actually need to start prepping for my trip tomorrow. I still have some logistics to work out for that. So, I mean, he sort of turns to Aesop and says, maybe I can catch you for something quick tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, great. And if you all want to come, happy to have breakfast with the crew.
well, I will be at Bread tomorrow morning. So if you want to meet
Sure.
us there,
I
okay.
heard about it.
Oh my god, you haven't been to Bread yet. Oh my god, you have to go to Bread. You have
I guess
to go to
we're all meeting at Bread tomorrow. Jory turns to Aesop.
I turned to Asaph and just like I was trying to like just give that.
I've heard so
Works
much
for
about it,
me.
so all right. All right, I'll catch you there. But whatever, I don't know what such adventures such as yourselves are doing in the evening, but I'll leave you to it.
Alrighty, get back home safe.
He sort of like stands up and dusts himself off of, not dust, but like there's like a little bit of grass just from sitting down and having sort of made room for the party. And he just sort of like gives a warm wave and then sort of trundles off.
I'll just awkwardly turn to the rest of the group and be like, you guys are class A cock blocker.
I assure you, it was not my intention.
I'm sorry, what was this term?
It's a term used when you accidentally or purposely interfere in a possible romantic situation.
Oh, so it was a possible romantic situation, says the person who says this was not a date earlier. Interesting.
I said possible.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I mean, I could run back over and catch up with him and bring him back if you want.
Oh no! It's the time
No,
is
we
already
can
come and
find a
passed.
nice clearing in the park for you.
The timing has already come and gone. It's okay.
So, you want to go break in the mayor's office?
I mean, that's not particularly, but I'll go with the group.
More realistically, perhaps, it's just waiting outside the mayor's office for this dinner to be over and then seeing who leaves and follow them. Or Drata follows them, because, yeah.
People are welcome to join. Also, I understand if you don't want to.
I don't mind joining, although I thought really long and hard when I made Flint about whether to be proficient in stealth or sleight of hand, and I didn't take stealth. But
I want to sort of review, as you're considering this course of action, I want to review what you know, just because I didn't paint a full picture of this place, but you've heard a few things. You know that presumably the mayors are staying on the campus. You saw a multi-story building that that you discerned that there's offices on the second floor. It's a three-story building, I should be clear. Offices on the second floor, kitchen and concierge sort of area on the first floor, and at the dining hall or whatever that is behind the gate is where all the food is going. So just sort of giving still playing off of Flint's earlier natural 20. It's sort of like your options if you're going to quote unquote break in, whether you were to actually consider that or not, or sort of hopping the fence. It's about 10-foot tall fence, no barbed wire or anything, but still. Coming in the front door or breaking through one of the windows in this sort of main building, or looking for something higher up. You do. I will say this for Drada's sake. While I did mention that the lighting on the second floor dimmed, the sort of office area dimmed, you do know, Flint, that there's plenty of candles and plenty of torches that are lighting up the rest of the interior, sort of, at least on the sort of first floors and the dining hall area, at least before you left. That's sort of what you had observed. So you know that it's sort of like breaking in is sort of a complicated thing. Not saying you can't do it, but you do. It's not. I will leave it from there for you to sort of explore what approach you want to actually consider, because it's not just an easy thing at first consideration.
Okay, so they're not. All these mayors and important people are actually staying here. We don't think that they are just here for dinner.
That was an impression you got from Jory.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then it's probably easiest to just, for lack of a better term, we used to, in the City Watch, when we had suspicion something was going on, we would essentially, in some basic disguises and everything, but we would essentially camp out and watch, a drug house or a smuggling house and kind of track when people come and go and report back to our superiors. It was pretty boring most of the time, but say we do something like that. Because then once Mayor Truegas leaves, we could bump into her and have a conversation.
Hard to say when she might leave. Yeah, it could be days.
It could be, and again, if we have to leave for work with Avendir before then, that comes first. But if not, maybe we take advantage of this opportunity that's been presented to us.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I think it is worth the risk to try to actually break in and like rummage around the office or something. I like the idea, but I don't know that I think it's
The concern I have is,
smart idea.
yeah, there's going to be more guards, more people, more stuff around, and again, we get caught. We're here in Avendir's town on his piece, and I don't want to cause any problems for him. That's why I'm saying maybe it's one of those things. If we know that, Mayor Truegas is leaving, then it's a conversation. Maybe we have on our way out of town. Just aren't you the mayor? Hey.
And who knows? Maybe she leaves for a meeting with our favorite red-gowned woman partway through, and we just happen to follow her and happen to gain more information. We don't have a guarantee that Ellen's gonna stay within this compound for the next several days straight. Also, if we get bored, we can do other things, and yeah, we can try other strategies. This feels like a decent starting point.
She might attend the closing party as well, like the closing event. She might be there since she's a mayor.
Very possibly.
That might be the time instead of waiting here, but.
So we just kind of stake out here for the evening till we go tired and then head back to the canopy?
I'll say at this point, the reality is they're probably not leaving tonight if they're. My apologies, guys. That yawn snuck up on me out of nowhere.
Max, rude. Good God.
I know. But just kind of reaching out. Or I think they're going to be in for the night because they're not going to hit the road at night. It's never wise to leave at night. So worst case they're leaving, or best case for them, worst case for us they leave tomorrow morning. But from the sounds of it, they're going to be here all week doing mayoral type of things. So I think we got some time.
We want to
Good.
come back tomorrow and check in? Or, sorry, Flint, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, not that we should like break in or anything, but should Jot or Mouse or somebody who can get in quite easily without being seen, maybe just go look in the window and figure out who's at this dinner, and if Selene, whatever her name is there.
Salami Vaughn, yes.
Yeah.
Salami Vaughn, yes.
Oh, we got puddles and salami.
I mean, I think that's fairly within my skill set. I
I mean, same
Can
here.
be a
Feels very
bird.
doable.
So birds aren't particularly likely to raise suspicion even in a window.
You can't be a bird. You're too low level for
Oh,
flying.
you're right. I can't be a bird. That's very sad.
Like squirrel though. No one's gonna take note over a squirrel, I wouldn't think. Or, well, I don't know.
She does have
I would-
limited things that I've given her as options. So
What are the options?
I have a badger, a giant badger, a spider, which is probably my best bet, a giant spider, a panther, which is my favorite, a cat, a wolf, an elk, a weasel, and me.
Yeah, spider or cat feels pretty good.
Well, I will say mouse is like at the bottom of the list. So it just goes cat, wolf, elk, weasel, mouse. But mouse is just me.
I like how you don't actually have mouse as a wild shape.
Oh, I will never become a mouse.
I mean, stray cats aren't too abnormal in a city like this.
I like the idea of the spider though. Small, inconspicuous. People won't even notice it. Cat, you can notice.
I can
That's
also
fine.
make somebody invisible, if we want like doubly protected or whatever.
And I mean, even if inside is brightly illuminated, if there's a courtyard, which it seems I feel like I can probably find some darkness. I mean, I get the best view, but I'm happy to give a look.
I will become a spider and go see if I can see through the window who is inside.
You're currently at the Unity statue, so just sort of.
Let's go.
We'll make our way to the mayor's estate.
Okay. You do that. Assuming nobody objects.
Nope.
Just sort of at a casual glance, knowing what you know. First of all, when you arrive, there's still a soft, like sunset in the sky, so it's not quite drawn to darkness at this point in time. But it does sound like it does sound like whatever is starting in the dining hall has probably started already. You just hear the sort of distant sounds of conversation, nothing that you can, and it sounds like a crowd. These are not sort of independent voices that you pick out, and you're at a distance right now anyway, so you wouldn't be able to pick anything out, but that's just sort of giving you the landscape.
Mouse, do you want to turn into a spider?
You betcha.
And then Flint, I think we keep the invisibility as backup in case we need to send Drod in if something goes wrong.
And I can go. I mean, if it takes long enough, I can head in on my own. But now spider it up.
I don't think I'm the fastest as a spider, but give me a couple minutes. I'll go see what I can see. I say before turning into a spider, because I can't talk as a spider.
Assumed.
Just because I have individual art for each of these wild shapes, I just feel like the spider one is especially cute.
Oh, it's awesome.
The giant spider, which I think she turned into before, is a little bit more ghastly, but
Yes.
this one is just like little babby spider. And
Touch thing.
knowing that she is slower, I will mage hand her, well, invisible mage hand or whatever, her over at least a little ways.
I can fly.
Hey, you've created a
Flying
flying
spider.
well, where are you dropping her off then? Sort of in
Um,
described.
Is close to one of the windows of this dining hall as I can. I don't want to get too close, and I'm assuming my mage hand is only 30 feet. But at least giving her like a boost over a wall, or
I mean,
giving
are
her
you,
some.
I was asking, like, how close are you willing to get to the gate to get her? Like, because there's a clearing between any kind of trees and the gate that is probably like 20 feet in and of itself. And so if you were to approach the gate more closely, you could drop her off directly onto the building itself. But if you're trying to remain hidden yourself, then you'd have to do it you'd have to drop her off probably just on the gate.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get close enough to be conspicuous or anything like that. I think I would want to keep my distance. So, yeah, and I can only do it for a 30-foot range. So,
okay,
I would get her as close as I can.
Okay, this little spider is floated to the gate, and Mouse, you what would you like to do?
I would like to find my way to the window that I think is marked as dining hall. I think is where I would start, and then go look in the office.
Okay. Well, the dining hall is a separate building. And
I was super clear how far away these buildings were. My intent was to check both.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to say this too. Like, a spider with 20-foot speed implies that the spider is booking it. Like,
I'm one of those terrible jumping spiders.
Yeah. But I imagine even if you're a spider, you're probably still taking a stealthy approach. So if you could just go ahead and roll me a stealth as the spider. I'm not suggesting that somebody's going to be like, oh, that's a person. Okay. Sort of bobbing and weaving between the blades of grass in the garden area and sort of finding yourself climbing up the stone masonry of the dining hall. You climb up to a window. I didn't mark the windows on my little draft map for this place, but you climb up to a kind of just like a pane of glass, a small pane of glass. It seems to be just here to let light in to the dining hall. There are a number of them that sort of encircle this building. Go ahead and give me a perception check as the spider.
Don't I get to keep my own mental stats?
Yeah, I thought.
You keep your mental stats, but the spider has its own proficiencies. So you're.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like you have the wisdom of Mouse, but it's your. I wonder if I'm. Oh no, I think I've already transferred those over to the spider, and that's why.
None of the wisdom skills ever match. I'm not sure why. If I was rolling with mine, it would be a 14.
Okay, let's just go with Mouse's stats for the time being. I'll sort that out later. But with a 14, you peer into the dining hall, just sort of. You're not really relying on dark vision in this moment. You see what is sort of a large banquet table that is seating probably a good 15 or so guests. You do see the familiar face of Bali Brightbeard at the head of the table, the sort of like obsidian-skinned dwarf figure. You also see what you first met as the concierge, Teresa, to the mayor's office, seems to be sitting to his right, who also is a sort of obsidian-skinned dwarf woman. And the table is pretty well lit. In fact, this entire hall, which is probably about, if you're just roughly guessing as a spider, it's probably about like a 50 by 50 space, 50 feet space, I should say. And there are torches all about and sort of lighting up the entire space. There's sort of an outer layer, a perimeter of food and drinks that are sort of set on side tables around the table for quick and easy access. And the people on the banquet table itself seem to be having what seems to be a pretty lavish meal. You sort of see like the standard like whole hog with an apple in its mouth situation along with all sorts of fixings and this and that, and sort of just see a sort of laughter and calm discussion happening. Familiar faces you see beyond the two I mentioned already. You do see dear sweet Puddles, along with a sort of you see Destin, the young competitor. Art, I think we're hearing some microphone stuff.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
It's all good. You see Destin sitting next to Puddles, sort of just like slowly chomping away at whatever meal is in front of him. And you also do see the Ferelia family, the Glasses and Iglis Ferelia, the two white tieflings, and you see the mayor Ellen Trugust here as well. There are a few other miscellaneous people, some that you sort of recognize as being in Puddles' little like retinue. Not necessarily the armed people, but people who are sort of wearing the same colors as Puddles was. And then you sort of just see some sort of random other people as well as servers and whatnot. But it seems like they're just having a joyous time. Nobody's really talking business or anything at the moment as you peek in.
Where, based on the food that's on the table, like where are they in the meal? Have they just sat down? Are most of their glasses empty and their plates empty?
Roll me an insight check. Okay. You get the impression that they're probably about to serve dessert. You don't really know the cuisine quite, like what is being prepared or how at a glance, but you sort of see like empty entree plates, for lack of a better word, and you see that people's wine is being refilled as if there's another course coming. That's probably the best I could say.
Okay, based on my size and understanding of space, do I think I could go here in the mayor's office and get back to the party within 12 minutes?
I would say that you don't really know how you're going to get in right away. You could go a little further before making it. Like you could go scope out an entrance before you probably make that decision.
Oh, I don't want to go inside. I was just window peeking again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd say like if you sort of pull off of the glass pane that is sort of the dining hall and just sort of move your spider eyes in the direction of the main building, and are just sort of judging the distance. Roll me a survival check.
I'm rolling such shit today. I'm so good at all of these things.
You're not sure. You think that a spider of your size traveling over a garden like this, it's probably difficult to navigate it's probably quote unquote difficult terrain to kind of navigate the thick grass in your size. You're not sure. Especially
I don't know if
finding
this
anything of
counts.
quality.
I do have timber walk. I don't know if it matters in other forms, but non-magical plants aren't considered difficult terrain for me.
I'm
I'm
gonna,
going anyway.
yeah, I'm gonna say probably not, because it's like I'm gonna say
because
probably.
I'm a tiny spider. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go anyway and just see if I see anybody or any movement in the window before I head back to the party.
So you're trying to traverse the grass, in a short amount of time, so that you have enough time to peer in the window. Is sort of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll me. I just love making a little spider, like play Indiana Jones for a moment. Roll me. Roll me something appropriate that you think would help you navigate this quickly.
Help me navigate the grass quickly.
This could be like a perception to find the right path. It could be sort of like a athletics or acrobatics to like parkour as a spider through grass.
I mean, that just sounds awesome. But
if spiders do have a number
way
negative
more
4.
likely to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do my best to use my understanding of various terrains to try to navigate the best patches of grass between the two. Perhaps there's like a worn down section because like a walkway between the two buildings where I can get on a little bit more like packed dirt than fresh grass.
Okay. We'll say like before you hop down from the one building, you're sort of like doing the mind palace to find the right path before you jump down. Go and roll perception.
No. No wisdom today.
You think that you find it, and you think you find something. It's the best you're going to get with the amount of time you have to dedicate to this, and you hop down. And as you're sort of scurrying across the footed paths, the slightly flattened paths, it is a moment where you see a cart being wheeled out, and this is like, 10 feet in front of you as the door swings open to wheel out a cart of what must be trays of dessert or something that is coming right in the path that you have laid out.
I would like to dodge the cart.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
I didn't think I would need mouse spider adventures in my life, but I'm
Every episode.
I didn't
Every-
realize that this
every
was the
session.
character I was created, but I am very happy with it.
As fun as it would have been to run you over and see what happens, it is sort of the spider senses, for lack of a better word, that you are able to quickly dash into a thicker part of grass that has not been tramped down by feet, sort of still escaping pretty narrowly. If a spider could sigh to itself, you probably feel a sigh of relief as it trundles past with the sweet scent of some kind of pastry or cake, as you sort of resume your way up to the. You said you were looking in the. What part of the office? Is like the second floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Go and roll a. You get up there just fine. You know that the time is ticking, but you have enough for you have enough time for a quick glance, unless you wanted to push it somehow. But go ahead and give me a perception check as you peer into the dark room in one of the windows. Okay. The way that I'm imagining this is a window that you're looking at that faces towards the dining hall on the second floor. And as you sort of peer inside, you find that this is a room that Seems to be like it seems to be an individual's office. With a 24, you do pick up that you don't quite recognize who it is, but there is a sort of like portrait on the wall of a black scaled dragonborn who is wearing sort of the purple colors that you've seen Bali Brightbeard wear as mayor. You see within this office, it seems to be this black scaled dragonborn wearing the purple colors, but also has like a bit of like armor to them, kind of like a breastplate that is above the purples within this sort of like almost sort of self-centered regal portrait. Sort of like the idea that you're hanging up a picture of yourself in whatever room you're in. And just at a first glance, you think that this might be like the office of the like whoever might be in charge of the town guard. Just at a glance, you don't see any. Like you see that the window opens from the inside, so you don't really see a way to crawl in. The window is closed, and you're also only really seeing all this with dark vision. But what would you like to do with? There's also various. There's a desk. There's like a few cabinets. There's a lot of stuff in there that you imagine is probably locked away in this cabinet or that cabinet, but nothing really out in the open.
Perfect. I will get back to the ground and make my way back. Either drop form behind a tree when I'm not in direct eyesight of the buildings, or make it all the way back to the party.
Is the party doing anything during that like 10 minutes of like, where's the spider? Like, what is the party doing?
Waiting with bated breath, just hoping nothing goes wrong.
I think I would just like casually bring up the fact like, I just love how she can just turn into animals. That is just so that's so cool.
What animal would you turn into?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe like a large cat, like some of her favorites, like the panther, I think would be fun. Maybe like an aquatic creature. I don't know.
Ooh.
Sounds really like, just a little bit jealous, you know?
If only in like one more level you were going to get access to some sort of spell that changed people into animals.
What?
So crazy.
What? I think Drada's just anxiously looking up at the sky, being like, "Is it dark yet? Is it dark yet? Hey, is it gonna be dark yet? I would like to help. I would like to go."
Yeah, I kind of know that I'm not any help, so I'm just kind of like chilling.
And Mouse makes herself known after resuming her own form behind a nearby tree.
Hey guys, have you ever had one of those moments where you thought you were gonna die and your whole life just kind of flashed before your eyes and you realized just how insignificant your choices and actions have been?
I kind of look at Clax. I'm like,
Wake up, yeah.
yeah. Like, yeah.
Okay.
Are you all right, Mouse?
Yeah, a little out of breath, but it's all good. I survived. Anywho, they're having dinner. It looks like it looks like the dinner portion's about to wrap up. I don't know if they're going to stay much after that, but at least Brightbeard, Teresa, Puddles and Gang, Dustin, the Forelias, and True Gust are all inside. I also went and looked inside the mayor's office, and there was a portrait on the wall of a black-scaled dragonborn. I don't know if you know him, Clax. In purple colors. It might be the head of the town guard.
All Genasi know each other. All Dragonborn
Why are we
know each other.
all?
I
Okay.
wasn't there for this conversation. Why is everyone racist? Why are we
Because when
all
you
just
grow up on an
bad?
island of 800 people, you don't know any better.
To answer the question,
Ferellius?
Clax, you do not know.
I assumed. I was not asking you to roll a history or a
Yeah.
intelligence check on that one.
The Ferellias are in there? Are they a bigger deal than I thought they were? What are they doing having dinner with the
in
mayor?
there?
Yes,
Huge.
unfortunately they are. And I gotta look at Trotta when they set up our Destin. I'm like, this might be payback eventually, but we'll see. Yeah, Ferellias are unfortunately a big deal. They kind of own their own ship industry. They play a big part in ships, airships. Yeah.
Do you think they'd be good potential buyers for this cask of ale?
They probably have enough money for it, to be completely honest with you.
Are they like we make Avendir look poor rich? Or like how rich are they?
Well, based on their daughter's nasty attitude and persona that she gives off to the world, probably stupid rich.
Love
That's
stupid.
fair. I don't have a good sense for how rich Avendir is. Perhaps a conversation for some other time when we're not right outside the mayor's office.
Shall we reconvene back at the inn?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything else that makes sense to try to do tonight here, so probably.
Scoot.
Mouse, how was it being a spider? Like, I was just telling the group while you were gone that it's just so cool that you could just turn into animals.
Yeah, I think spiders are really cool because you can climb really well, which I'm not always great at. Unfortunately, they're kind of hard to maneuver.
Well, probably
And-
having 8 eyes, or however many eyes spiders have. They have a lot. You're probably just not used to it.
I think it's the smallness, which you think I might be used to. Everything looks much different when you're little.
We're not little.
No, but spiders are. I think I prefer the badger, to be honest. But all creatures have their purpose.
What about mosquitoes? Are we mosquitoes? You can make a case that there's no purpose.
I don't know if
Bed
Mouse has
bugs.
ever encountered a mosquito.
I was gonna say, what is a mosquito?
They just kind of like suck people's blood and they just buzz away. That's all they do.
Oh, you mean like the vampires?
No, they're not people. They're just bugs that give you bumps.
Vampires aren't people?
No, I'm saying the mosquitoes aren't people. Drada, please.
This just continues to devolve while we talk about what our
Yeah.
next steps
Yeah.
are.
You make your way to the canopy while having various banter. I am just pausing for a moment just because it's like, as you're starting to walk away, Drada, you're like, almost invisible. You're like, you know that if Mouse hadn't come back, that your time to shine would be very soon. So I'm just letting you know it's getting to be that hour. But
Listen, Mouse's spider escapades are infinitely more entertaining than anything Drada could do. So more of that. More of that.
Less effective, more entertaining.
That's usually how D&D goes.
there's definitely some time during your walk home that it becomes too dark to see without light, and you know that not just because it's just hard to see, but also because Drada is nowhere to be seen.
You just hear Drada go like, "Thank fucking God," and then turn invisible.
But then again, people need light to walk, so at some
I'm like,
point,
oh, Drada, there you go. There you are. Where'd you go?
Thanks.
But you all make your way to the canopy. Is there anything you'd like to do or talk about on the way there, or are people just bedding down for the night?
I think I'd just ask about tomorrow morning. You know, we're gonna go meet Drury, and again, I do apologize, ASAP. That wasn't my plan. My plan was I'm gonna be there, so if you guys want to make plans to go elsewhere, feel free. And
We could also
Drury,
just not show up if you want.
yeah.
Some
Well, I kind of
alone
really
I-
want them.
He expected y'all to come in the first place. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to happen anyway. It's fine.
I mean, you maybe need to hit him over the head with it.
But like we're gonna be in two like different like career paths, and it just might not work out right now, you know? I don't know if now's the right time.
I mean, we're adventurers. We could die any day. I think you gotta, you know,
That's
have
true.
fun where you can.
Yeah. Or you know, like have the soul sucked out of you. Too. Yeah.
Well, again, you let us know. We can be very flexible tomorrow. I'll just go get my meat pie afterwards, but but then after that, what do you guys think we do about Truegast?
Well, she didn't seem like a particularly horrible woman. She seemed easy to talk to somewhat. So I don't think, depending on the type of questions you ask her, I mean, I feel like she'll be easy to talk to.
I mean, depending on how much time we're gonna have here in town, we could just try and start doing some, you know, schmoozing and trying to just gather info and figure out what we can about what they're up to. But that I feel like is gonna take time. Like,
Yeah.
That feels fair.
All right.
Well, you all, unless there's anything in particular people would like to do before bedding down, you all achieve a long rest. I don't really know what resources were spent or not, but I imagine some were.
I know Asa burned some spells, and I think Mouse did as well because we hadn't had a rest since the events.
Oh, right, yes.
That is true. I no longer have access to Forge or a computer, so I'm just kind of winging it through
That's
Discord.
I'll do things for you.
Okay.
But
I do go ahead and change my infusion back to my armor class instead of the mind sharpener thing for at least the time being.
Okay.
I will go back to putting alacrity on Drada just as we're about to leave for the day.
Oh.
I need to reset my spells, and I have wheel again.
Oh boy.
And I will go ahead and prep identify if we want to try and identify that hint.
Well, you all, I imagine, I mean, Brett is not that far away. You know, you have a appointment to make, but you could either go there or you want to spend just a little bit of time at the canopy, sort of in the lobby area to rendezvous. You're welcome to do that as well.
I think I'm gonna go to Brett. Alone.
On your way back, just grab two of the meat pagers, not the ones with the the brown gravy, but the ones with like that reddish brown gravy. Grab me 2 of those.
Okay, like the curry color gravy. Okay.
Yeah. You got it. You got it.
Any other requests?
Oh yeah, those pastries they like are like kind of diamond shaped, and they have like a filling that's like deep dark, like purplish red. It's like blackberry. They have like a little glaze on top. Just like one would be like much appreciated.
Mentally noted. Mouse, Flint.
Whatever. Surprise me.
Something new.
Hot cornbread.
Alrighty. I will meet y'all soon. And I'll head out to bread.
Okay. Just to give people any opportunity to do whatever they want. Is anybody? What do the people do while Aesop is doing this? And presumably, again, you guys have chosen a rendezvous point somewhere, but
Well, Clax, because he's been eating a lot of pastries, getting outside, actually going for a little run, doing a little cardio, go through some katas, actually get his bloated butt back in shape a bit.
Gerardo was thinking not dissimilarly, just in that, hey, Aesop did this really cool thing with my crossbow, and like my brain, like hallucinatory vision self used it. I've never used it. At least I don't think I've had a chance to use it, the infused version.
yeah,
So-
Flint did that, not Aesop, but yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Flint. Yes, Aesop, you're great, and also Flint, you're beautiful. Since Flint did that, and I have never had a chance to test it out, like seeing if I can find in any area where I can like just get to know this new infusion a little bit. Target practice, maybe.
This is the sort of town that the buildings are far enough apart that you can probably just find like a little clearing between some trees and claim it as a sort of exercise / sparring ground. You could probably shoot some arrows at a tree and nobody would blink an eye. I know how much you love climbing trees. I don't know how much you feel about shooting them.
You know, it hurts my heart a little bit, but you got to do what you must.
Yeah. Mouse and Flint, anything in particular?
Um,
I'm imagining this is over the course of an hour until Aesop gets back. Is my kind
yeah,
of
I'm
guess.
probably just staying at the canopy and tinkering with some of my gadgets and stuff. Nothing in particular.
Mouse will help someone, whoever needs help.
Okay. Aesop.
Yes.
the-
Hello.
Hello. Bread is a pretty popular spot in the morning.
Uh-huh.
You arrive and find that you probably are a little early. You don't really actually know where. Actually, I think you know where Jory's staying. I forget if I mentioned it or not, but maybe you're just running a little early because it's a little further away. But is there anything you'd like to sort of do as you're waiting?
Is it like you said there's not really a seating place,
Yeah.
so never mind on that question.
But there's a line
But-
forming, so you could just like get in line early.
I think I will get in line. Yes.
Okay.
I'll kind of talk to the people in front of me like, oh, good morning. Were you at the tournament, Tails? How do you like living in the city?
Roll percentile dice.
I don't have
Oh, I'm
access
sorry.
to
I'll
those.
do that. High or low.
We'll do high.
Okay, so I'm going to say 51 to 100. You are recognized. Oops, that was way too many dice. Why did it roll 4 dice and then gave me 2d? Oh no, I rolled 2d100. Sorry, 2d10. I'll just roll 1d100. I don't know how that works. Okay, it does. It knows how to do that. Okay. You rolled a 93, so it's high.
Cool.
You find that there's just some random faces that sort of like just don't register as anybody who you've spoken to, these are clearly a couple of just sort of like people who had tickets, people who had gotten tickets through connections or through whatever, and they say, "Oh, hey, you eat here too? Hey, welcome." Yeah, it was amazing. Good job.
Oh,
Loved it.
oh, thank you. Yeah, could you tell I was a nervous wreck up there? Which round did you see?
We were there for that the second one, the screen.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty wild. That
Yeah.
is something I've never seen before.
Yeah. I mean, what? You didn't see it?
I've
Weren't you there?
I've never seen anything like it before.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, you did great.
Thank you.
You have a bit of banter, and I'm just sort of like making a mental note as a DM that you have a fan.
Great. Don't know their name, but great.
And it's sort of you reach you're kind of like near the front of the line when you spot Jory sort of entering. The line is sort of built up quite a bit, but Jory kind of makes a judgment call and decides that it's appropriate to just sort of like join you in your place in line.
Right. I'm like, oh, sorry everyone.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey.
Hey. Thanks for coming over. Do you know where you're gonna get yet? Are you like craving any sort of pastry item?
I was gonna follow whatever you and your friends recommended.
Okay, they recommended various things.
I'll take one of those things.
Okay, so as I order, if you want something, just add it to the list.
Okay. You at this point the front opens up and he sort of goes over a few options and he ends up landing on this like not quite what Clax had. It's actually like a red bean paste, like a Korean bean paste dough ball, functionally fried dough ball, and he sort of like lands up with that and then sort of like as you're placing the order, he says like, should we order some for everybody else? Are they joining us?
No, they won't. They won't be coming this morning. They're doing a what I assume only to be, some are doing a workout routine, some are kind of getting their items together. They just have their morning routines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What do you think of them though? After yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, I barely talked to them, but they seemed cool.
They're
at this point the person's like, is that all? The person at the register is like,
oh yeah, sorry, we just got distracted with conversation. So I'll take, did I already order?
Yeah.
DM? Okay,
I'll deduct 5 silver if you're picking up stuff for other people.
Yes.
From your sheet, and you get your stuff and head out again because there's no seating, and you and Jory just sort of open the air out back to the road, and he says, want to just go back to the park?
Sure, I'm down. Do you have your blanket sheet with you?
Nope.
Great.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, there's benches there, right? Yeah.
What does Aesop make happen? Like, is this sort of a continued conversation about just sort of catching up? I feel like my assumption is that for the most part you guys are pretty caught up.
Yeah, it's more of like a conversation of like old memories, like college life, what we used to do on like weekends, and how we would interact with each other in class, and like pass notes to each other, and like all the funny stories that would come up with everyone in the friend group. Walking and at the park, I imagine that's our conversation, just kind of like reminiscing on everything, because it's been a while since we've like actually hung out. And then just kind of like dive into that. Yeah, so you know, I mean, I probably already mentioned this to you, but I am just really appreciative that we met each other, and like continuously hung out and like made great memories with some amazing people, and it means a lot. And I just wanted to say thanks.
He kind of just gives you like at this point the food has been eaten and both hands are free, and so he just sort of gives you like a nice short side hug, um, sort of like warm and friendly, and sort of says, "Well, I appreciate you too. I hope that the adventuring life still leaves you some opportunities to come visit. I feel like this was probably a special occasion that I was allowed to leave, unless I get like a particular assignment to go study something or witness something at some other place. So I don't know how much travel I'm going to get to be doing, but
Right.
probably now and then. But I don't. It would probably be really hard to synchronize that with whatever you're up to.
Yeah, you have a certain amount of leave. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where my adventuring life is going to take me either. Like we previously said, I hope to be back in Consonant soon. Just, I don't know when that time will be.
Well,
Just been thinking a lot about us and like how much I care about you. I just hope that you care about me as much as I care about you, and I kind of like start blushing a little bit. I'm like, yeah.
I'm gonna give you this option before I roll it for you. But would you like to insight his reaction?
Yeah. If I'm starting this topic up, I need to know if I need to move on with this.
Okay. You rolled a 23, so that's very good.
Oh, yeah, great.
You know, in the moment that you're sort of blushing, the sort of the curse of being taller than somebody and walking in the same direction as them is that you're not always like looking at each other's faces, and you realize that he doesn't necessarily see that. He doesn't see the physical showing perhaps in your face, as he sort of he has like a sort of soft trailing laugh and says, well, I care about you as well, and I just hope that we can spend more time together when you get the chance. And the read you get from that with a 23 is that you know, I always struggle as a DM that like insight checks are not reading somebody's mind.
Right.
But with a 23, it's, you know, you think he wants to spend more time with you. You think that a degree of your message has been communicated, but maybe the gravity hasn't sunk in just yet. So it's like you could choose to be more explicit or not. But you think that he would like to spend more time with you, and that the way that he says it suggests, like, you know, recognition.
Then I'm gonna stop, or at least like slow down my track, and like go. He's been doing these side hugs since we've hung out, and
I love creating sexual tension as a DM. Don't worry.
In Horizon, so I think I'm gonna go in for like a full like bear hug. Like I'm gonna bring him into my body and just like kind of hold him
you like give him the Minotaur lift because you're kind of like
Yes.
much. You only have 12 strength, but you're a Minotaur. You can lift him up.
Yeah, he's light, I imagine. So I just kind of like go in for that hug, and depending on his reaction, is what I do next.
I think that the reaction. I'm not trying to disappoint you as a player. The reaction is like that of surprise. It's sort of like I wasn't expecting this, and he's like, "Oh," and then as you sort of like grip tight, a few seconds later he returns the grip of the hug, but his face is still buried in your chest, and he's not like looking up at you per se.
Right. So
He has the look of somebody who's expecting to be put down soon.
right. So I'll just put him down. Like still one arm on the shoulder, like one hand on his shoulder, and then the other one is just kind of playing with his hair a little bit, and I'll just be like, I'm gonna miss you. A lot. And I'm glad that you were able to come up and see me win.
It's been a memorable couple of days, and I'm happy I was able to make it, and I want to miss you as well. We should do this again next
Yeah.
time.
I would like that. And with that, I'll release both hands from his face, and I'll keep you updated through third person. Of course, I can't contact you, but thankfully we have someone in the group who can.
Well, I get your letters. It's just a matter of where do I send letters to you. So,
right.
But if you said your friend Mouse can
yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll work if she has the time and spell capability at the current moment. But
sure.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated. Stay safe.
He goes in for the full body hug, this time sort of at your legs. Function like you're not that much taller, but without being lifted, he'll just sort of go in for the full hug for probably 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You wonder to yourself if that's like, how do you gauge the appropriate hug length before before you can read into it too much? And then he backs away and says, wish we had more time, but I do have to get packed. So I'll be heading out here pretty soon. So just looking forward to hearing from you.
Bye, Jory.
He kind of like waves and nods and starts wandering off.
I'll go in the opposite direction, feeling satisfied. But I got positive recognitions back that there is mutual feelings.
With a 23 insight, I would candidly say this of like you recognize the potential, but maybe you would read it as somebody who was surprised with new information, and they're like perhaps they were unprepared to respond. But that they responded positively in the moment is a good sign. But it's sort of like you imagine being in that situation that it's probably they probably have some thinking to do.
And I'll walk off with a smile on my face.
Okay.
Headed back to the group with all the pastries they have requested.
All right, and we will. Don't want to go too much later for this session, but perhaps another quick scene or two as Aesop returns, bag of goodies in hand.
For you, Clux. For you, Drata.
You're awesome.
So, Mouse, I don't know. I don't know. I felt it was fitting. I don't know if you've had these before. You might have. Here's a bear claw for you, and a bear claw for Flynn.
Lovely.
I'll just nibble on a little pastry that I got myself too. Kind of sit with everyone, or stand, or standing. I'll look at Drada.
Drada is staring at Aesop.
Like, yes.
Mhm,
Can
mhm.
I help you?
How was your morning?
It was great. That was a great conversation.
It makes me really happy to hear.
Anyway, how are these pastries, everyone? Mine is super delicious.
I'm so weak, my son.
We got a little curry kind of dripping down, getting your scales. Right side, right? Yep. Right there.
Drada's still staring Aesop down and like has like the blackberry jam just like on his lips and is like, interesting, delicious, mm-hmm.
I imagine you guys are just sitting in like the lobby of the canopy or something at this time, and you see Gris walks in, actually, and sort of finds you all there and sort of hurriedly, not hurt, they're not in a rush, but they sort of like, clearly they found who they were looking for. And as Gris sort of approaches and says, "Morning. Everybody doing good?"
Fantastic.
Good. The boss says paperwork's ready. If you want to have a sit down to talk about it, he's ready to do that.
Sure.
Let's go.
All right.
He's at the melody. I'm on my way to do a few other things, but so I'll see you around, perhaps.
Thanks for the info.
And you see Gris. He actually walks as you're sort of exiting the canopy together. He walks westward. You have never really actually been to that sort of neighborhood in town, sort of like the over here region. But he wanders in that direction, and you all may do what you would like to do.
Anything we need to do before we
Paperwork.
head for paperwork?
What if we have to touch another orb?
Oh, God. I mean, paperwork makes me think there will be fewer orbs involved. Who knows?
You want me to identify that thing quick before we head out?
Oh. Yeah. I'll take off my pin that I've been wearing and hand it over.
Can't really ritual cast on the road unless you're just doing it as an action.
I was assuming I would just spend 10 minutes and do that before we left.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, you spend 10 minutes as people prepare for going to visit with Avendir. I will read this out just because I know Art's IT situation is complicated at the moment. But it is referred to as a Champion's Crest. Mechanically, if you're familiar with a luck stone, that's what it is. It is a +1, once you are attuned to it, it is a +1 bonus to ability checks and saving throws.
What's that?
Nice.
Great. Yeah, here you go. It's a luck stone.
Well, it's the Champion's Crest.
Champion's Crest.
Mechanically equivalent to a luck stone out of character.
It'll make you a little better at stuff.
Cool. So I will, if I can. I don't know what what is required to attune to an item, DM?
A simple item like this, you just sort of have to like hang out with it for an hour with the intent to attune to it. Like you could put it under your pillow while you're sleeping. You could just concentrate on it. I would say over the course of the walk to Rising Melody, you can attune to it. Just
That's what I was going to ask. Okay, cool. Thanks.
But yeah, are you all heading over then?
Yes, sir.
I know Mouse. I don't know if it got lost in the conversation. Mouse had asked about paperwork.
I assume people are pretty used to just glossing over my questions at this point.
What was your question?
I never even heard her.
Oh, is it what is paperwork? Is that the question?
Well, I mean, I know what paper is. I just don't understand why we need paperwork.
Like signing the contract, getting us some commitment.
You know, we're questing here, so we gotta I guess commit to whatever the fuck's gonna be this new quest.
I know.
Ship in a bottle city people. I don't know.
Oh, I thought this was just the paperwork for us to be like officially
Yeah, you're right.
Avendir's, I don't know, adventurers or whatever, to make him our patron. Like officially.
Right. But we've been working for a while without ever writing anything down. I just don't understand why we can't just do what we say we're gonna do and say what we're gonna do. But if that's how he wants to do it, I understand.
Yeah, things are complicated here.
That's the truth.
Well, you all make your way to Avendir's place. Art, for your awareness, I have attuned you to the Champion's Crest, and your character sheet should reflect automatically the +1. So you don't have to worry about anything with that.
Perfect. Thanks.
Sure. You find Avendir. The place seems to have been... I'm just going to show you the new map, even though nothing's really happening here. The place is much more set up for everyday drinking at this point. Oh, Gris is not there. Ignore that. And you find that where the bleachers were, it seems like they've set up these sort of like wooden booths that are divided by curtains. And that they've set up another row of tables to fill up all the sort of extra space that had been there before. Right now, it doesn't seem like they're open for business, but you know that you have been sort of invited, and Avendir is happy to kind of just greet you all as you enter. And he says, "Well, you guys are very prompt. Appreciate that."
Well, made our morning trip to bread, so we're good to go.
Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to just chat with me and for us to all get to know each other a little bit better. I've been very pleased with everything, and I would be happy to continue this partnership in a slightly more formal way. It sort of did occur to me throughout all these conversations that that what you all have is sort of, I think, shines a little bit brightest as an independent organization. Or organization is the wrong word. Just an independent entity. You all are the Left Stars. You don't need to be Avendir's the Left Stars. So I wanted to offer something a little bit looser, something more akin to a patronage. He does produce a piece of paper. When the game ends, I will show it to you in full, but sort of the abridged, so that you can sort of digest it. The abridged version is, which he will explain, is that he pledges to be your patron, and in doing so, he supports sort of the work that you do on his behalf, sort of like a seal of, like he's sort of putting his weight behind your efforts through that statement. What he offers for that work is not specific. It's not transactional. It's not you do this, you get money. He sort of allows you to withdraw a stipend from the Ventus treasury, which is sort of, I don't know, it's something that Clax might be familiar with. It's sort of like being paid by the city or being paid by the bank. That it's sort of, you don't come to him for money, you go to the treasury and you're entitled to money. And that would be for per season, 500 gold per person. That is, I would say, from Clax's perspective, is probably most familiar with money. It's good money. It's equivalent to being wealthy and then a little bit more, but not stinking rich. You know, it's not, you're not, it's nice money, especially for anybody who's had a job before, but it's not becoming a noble or anything. And that this would begin on the beginning of the next season, which is fall, the 1st of fall. Additionally, he pledges to sponsor your application should you choose to exercise it for the Ventus Guild Federation. This is a you probably don't know too much about it. I would say Flint might have a slight, just sort of in the crafting sphere of what the Ventus Guild Federation is. It sort of is just sort of like a government sanctioned business and a sort of alliance of guilds that might work together on various things. He pledges to not only pay the application fees and potentially like some modest startup costs, but should you get any support, or should you need any support for whatever guild you would want to make, he pledges to pay the salaries of 5 support staff for up to 1 year. And then the last thing on here is that it's sort of like the legalese behind some of this. I as a DM over-prepared by writing this actual whole document. But it's the legalese on this thing, basically saying that if you are displeased with being partnered with Avendir at some point, or if Avendir chooses to terminate the partnership for any reason, then there will be sort of financial relief as you become a solo, like a non-patronized guild again. He's not going to cut you off cold turkey if either party decides to end the partnership. He will provide sort of a waning subsidy so that the guild isn't sort of left paying staff all by itself. For all intents and purposes, those of you with more knowledge about money, this is sort of, I wrote down what I consider to be maybe thoughts that would enter each of your minds. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but to Aesop, this would sort of be like, that's a pretty good paying job, especially for, compared to friends of yours. It's probably quite comfortable for a first job. For Clax, it's a big shitload of money and probably a big show of trust. Drada, I wrote this before you had your conversation with Avendir, but it occurred to me that like Drada might wonder, like, what am I getting into? Like, Mouse is I wrote down the sort of, it's a lot of paperwork. What's the point? Don't you trust us to do the job without this? And then Flint would occur to you to be like, if he has this much money to spend on a bunch of people he barely knows, he must be flush. But as Avenir sort of explains these things, he presents to you a document that does require everybody's mark. He's not holding up a pen to you. He just sort of finishes this explanation and says, I know that was a lot. Happy to talk about it if you'd like.
I don't know about. I don't want to speak for the rest of the group, but just in general, the overall breakdown you've given us and the trust you're showing us, the biggest thing I'd ask is, what are you looking for us to do by setting up with more of this loose arrangement, which I'm very honored by, but what are you looking for us to do in your name? And I understand it's not in your name. I understand we're independent, but you're still our patron.
Yeah, of course. I have things that I could use assistance with, just sort of at a throwing out the short versions of it. This effort to auction the next round of brandy is going to put me on the road for a solid season. I'm going to be on the road all fall. There may be, could use extra hands sort of in the security sense and sort of the wanting to introduce you to some people sense. It might be a good opportunity to help me make connections as a future lord and show people what I'm willing to offer them in a way as a friend. Not offering them your service per se, but it's sort of like,
As an example.
I want to be reliable. I want to be seen as reliable and maybe helpful to their needs. I am also trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do in Vind and how I'm supposed to set all that up. I have Gris sort of running some of the numbers and some of the logistics for what that transition would look like. Could use a little help in that department of like, what does it mean to be a lord? What do I need? How do I lead the people there by just kicking open the door and becoming in charge? I need to make, as opposed to making more worldly friends, I'm maybe needing to make more local friends or figure out how to be seen as a valuable person over there. If I'm being frank, I talked to the local mayor here, and he is an example of several people who are just unhappy with my transition and who I need to make a few rights on. And so Bali had mentioned when I met with him yesterday afternoon that there was an incident at the quarry nearby that could use some investigation, and by doing so, hopefully I wouldn't burn a bridge with him on the way out of here. So really, I mean, there's more. He kind of gives Drada a look as he says there's more. You guys don't necessarily read what that look entails. There's more, but some of the work could be sensitive, and I suppose I would be more inclined to talk about it once we've worked together a little bit longer.
I kind of turn, look at the group.
I've done worse for less.
That is such
Feels
a Flint quote.
It feels like such an unhealthy way of setting standards for yourself, but okay.
I mean, this is a great out of college job. So I'm in if everyone else is.
Mouse?
Oh.
Drada?
Sorry, I thought we already said yes.
Well, yeah, but just with the changes in the contract, I didn't know if you were any other questions, concerns.
Feeling iffy.
All sounds good to me.
Very
Got it.
good.
I mean, we'll always have questions, comments, and concerns, but this works for now. I'm excited for the more, and again, give a brief glance at Avendir.
Very well. We will end the game there. I will show
Woo!
you this document so that you can consider any like, oh wait, last minute question. I'll show you the document should you wish to ask anything prior to actually signing it. But thanks for playing.
Another fun session.
Wow.
Yes.
Sexual tension everywhere.
It was nice to be back.
Woo!
Such tension, such tension.